Bro, look at that. That looks like the Dragon Ball.
I think that's like one of the most delicious tequilas I've had.
Oh, dude, I'm excited to try it.
That and the Corlejos, those two have been my favorite. Like, yeah.
Have you gone Oh, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Never mind. Tequila tasting.
I'm ready to go back, man. It's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the tequila in Mexico. It's it's beautiful too. Like the hills, just all covered with agave, the whole 9 yards. Oh my bad. Artie, we're live, bro.
Let's go.
It's on. We are live. Hey, thanks for joining us, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Thank you. Oh wow. I've never had to do that. No, I'm just kidding. My name is Angel. I'm a Los Cruces native. Is that what you call it?
I guess, yeah.
I don't know. Born and raised. Well, I don't live in Los Cruces. I live in Vado. But if you know the area, you know that Vado is just 15 minutes away from an MSU.
That's right. Vado, cool little town, cool history. Started like, I don't know how many years ago, but it was like an African-American community that was trying to get away from like all the craziness.
Correct.
And they started out there.
Yeah.
I was just down there. Like, I always tell people my side job. I always go do like Walmart deliveries. And I was like, you want to make some easy money? Get the app, make your own schedule, do Walmart deliveries. And that's usually that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just out like hustling, trying, making some money doing that. But I was on Vado last weekend.
Delivery?
Yeah, just like
they
random.
Delivered to Vado?
Dude, I went down a house on a dirt road where they have like the plaque for Fort Fillmore.
Wait.
Fort Fillmore.
Is it the one on the?
It's like in a pecan orchard.
Sign?
So you take the old highway down and
478 or 28?
Which one's the one closer to the interstate?
478 is
478.
478. So 478. 478. And then you go down like a dirt road and there's some houses in a pecan orchard. And I don't know how I looked it up, but I just randomly, I saw my Google Maps. I was trying to find it. Fort Fillmore. Like, part of the old Apache trails and like, that always trips me out. Like, like 100 years ago, guys randomly came in the middle of the desert to fight Indians and live in
the same area down
like,
there, and I had no idea.
live or die out there. And I was trying to find my way on the pecan orchard, but the guy had it all fenced off because it's pecans. They take it serious, but
people do.
They do
Jump in and fill up some sacks real quick.
I had a really good friend named Bird. The Bird, Chris Bird.
Oh,
He passed away. If that's his name, it's been a long time ago. Big old white guy, nicest guy you'll meet, farmer guy. He got like throat cancer.
No, never mind. I knew about a Bird. His last name was Bird. He owned a dairy in Mesquite.
Oh. Is it right off the exit, the Anthony exit, or no?
Vado.
No,
Mesquite or Vado exit. Well, if you're coming from Cruces, you would take the Mesquite.
I used to know the owner from the other one in there in Anthony, but. No, this guy Chris Bird would tell me about it. He said he'd be cruising down his pecan farms, and he said you would just stop and you see like burlap sacks hanging from the trees, and he goes, "I just leave them there. Go call the sheriff, and we would just wait all night." He said car would pull up, people would come out with their escobas and little palitas, and they just start sweeping up pecans. He says, 15, 20 minutes, they have like 4 or 5 bags full of pecans, and he said the sheriff would be waiting there with them and bust them all in the act. Like it. That's like the real deal. That's serious. He goes, yeah.
You'll hear gunshots if you're if you mess around too much, you're still.
Yeah.
I'm sure it happened a lot more back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, people tried now.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually have a friend that used
salud,
to
guys.
guard.
Hey, salud. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Salud.
No, you're okay. You're okay. I just took a sip right now. It's really good, man. It's really good.
Oh, God, I've never heard about it. It's underrated. That is delicious.
Yeah. I saw it at I think I saw it. I'm pretty sure I saw it at Cali's Liquor.
Yeah. It's just got a cool bottle.
Yeah, but I didn't see this one. I saw
There's another one.
The white with blue. It's probably the silver.
There's another bottle like this for that Nejo también, pero it's not cool like this one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I saw that. I was like,
bro, that aftertaste is like it's a smoky honey aftertaste.
It's so good. Yeah.
See, I get kind of almost like a chocolatey hit myself.
I can see that.
Christmas one. This
tequila? Yeah.
Yeah,
that tastes like it's probably roasted well, obviously I don't know if they do that to all the tequilas, right? They do roast.
I think they all do.
They roast the agave.
I think it has to do like how long it's aged, and then the barrels it's aged in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because God, I used to know this really well. Tequila is only aged like 6 years, and then that's for the regular, and then the not the añejo, but the other one. There's silver. There's
extra añejo.
There's añejo. Reposado. Reposado. So I want to say like the silver is like 4 to 6, and like 6 to 8 is the reposado, and then older than 8 is añejo.
Yeah, and then there's extra añejo,
which is even older.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
we went into a cellar that was like 10 feet tall. It was all stone, like underground underneath. It's just a big old place where they make tequila and just barrels, like just stacked, like
a
whole underground.
Yeah, because it keeps it cool.
And it was like 40 feet long. And I was like, dude, it was cool. The only thing he said is like, no flash, no cigarettes or nothing. He goes, there's so much alcohol in here aging. He goes, it's in the air. The whole thing will just go.
Camera bug, imagine.
Yeah, they were like really funny about that.
You know, it's funny because I'm a photographer. I have not said any of that yet, but I went to film school. I did photography, graphic design, so I did a lot of media schooling. I own my own video and photography production or company. Anyways, a flash, right? Where I work at White Sands Missile Range. Some people think that the flash can cause a spark, right?
Right.
You can't. They're built, maybe on older ones, but they're built, sealed.
Self-contained.
Self-contained. Yeah, exactly. Flashes should be safe, and all because this is. How are you gonna? I mean, you can take a photo. You can do other methods.
It's not like when we were little kids. I think I'm probably the oldest one. I'm older than dirt, but a lot like the old days where you got a camera, and then you literally stuck a flash stick, and that it had like little squares, and then it'd go the next one, and then it would turn around.
Would probably make things blow up.
I mean,
not new flashes. It's flashes. I mean, obviously higher end flashes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like these are for professional photographers who take photos anywhere.
Right.
So you should be able to do it even underwater. I'm sure there's underwater photography. I mean, there is underwater photography. You need that. But like, there's sensitive areas where it's like, any little spark can make the place blow up. They still take photos in there, and how do they do it? With flash, because it's self-contained.
It's self-contained.
Yeah. What if it's breached, bro? Like, what if you drop it?
But it's
then don't take a picture anymore. I don't know. I was in like maybe you don't know that there's
but if every time you drop it, it breaches.
But if it's like
it should be different layers, not just one. There should be because it's enclosed in glass. First of all, like the main flash, it's in glass, and that's still sealed over with other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, in plastic.
I think just with modern circuitry, it's just different. Though you're talking about like little LED, little crystallines now that you like with a flash, you give it that little burst of energy and it just lights up for a second. Mm-hmm. Whereas the old ones, something actually had to, like a chemical ignition. To give you
there's different. Yeah, there's a lot of different types of lights for sure.
Especially like all the old sticks. Mm-hmm. That was a legit. Poof, and that was it. Like because it literally ignited in a flash, and you couldn't use it again.
Yeah, the bulb and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you use a big flash, you can any flash, you can hear the flash go.
Yeah.
It's bright.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So. First of all, how old are you, if you don't be asking?
I'm going to be 32 next month.
Dude. Salud. Cheers for that. Dude, 30s are... First of all, 30s, that's a good decade. You always talk about, like, when you're a kid, like, I don't want to get old. Or your 20s, you're old. You know what? Life happens. Like, life starts in the 30s.
I believe it. 20s were great.
Yeah.
Right? But I feel like now's the time to... I don't know. I mean, the whole process is building yourself, right?
Right.
Your 20s too, but the 20s is a lot more fun with it.
Yeah.
College, fun. But 30s is like, I need to figure my life out now and on.
I was about the same age, 32.
I've never had a full-time job. I just got my first full-time job ever in December. Obviously, I own my production company, and I was also a part-time instructor at DCC. I was teaching photography and graphic design. And if I would have not gone that job, I would have been teaching video production this semester.
That's really cool. You know, like a lot of people talk about. First of all, like before we go in depth, like a lot of people talk about. I want to do like film. I want to do like be a photographer. I want to do this. I want to do that. But I feel like not that many people actually, go the distance and do it.
Yeah.
They never get past like the learning phase or like.
Yeah, there's not a lot of opportunity. There's not a school everywhere, thankfully, like we're blessed with here with a couple, which reminds me, Mark, if you don't mind me, let me just give like a little bit of an intro. So
yeah, please.
One of the main reasons that I invited Angel on here is I've known him for a long time. I actually met him in film school. He was working in the lab, and we just got along.
Mm-hmm.
Find out a few months later, like I asked him, like, "Hey man, where are you from? Like, what area?" And he's like, "Oh, Vado." I was like, "Oh shit, me too." I was like, "What road?" He goes, "Holguin." I'm like, that's pretty much the same road. Like it turns into Myers, where I grew up. Like my grandma, like my mom and I, like that's where we moved to in the 80s.
Right.
And he was there pretty much the whole time, and I was like, "Oh, crazy." And we go even further, and I'm like, "Where'd you go to school?" And after talking, we find out that my mom was a kindergarten teacher.
That's cool.
So it's like, oh, crazy. So we've gotten along
cool.
from them. But Angel is obviously an interesting and pretty cool dude, so I thought, like, why not bring him on? As well as, in the first episode, I recall showing you a video. Do you remember that with the lights in the sky? That was this guy.
Yeah, I remember that. That's cool, man. I think New people misconstrue New Mexico. Like you guys are from the same area, but like even like that little town Vado, it's like a big spread out area. You know what I mean? Like not very populated, but it's very plausible. Like
farmland.
Yeah, you wouldn't know somebody that lives all the way across on the other side of Vado because it's just spread out, right?
Yeah, you got Vado goes. Well, I don't know where you would say it starts at, right? But everybody recognizes Vado from the I-10, getting off I-10, right?
Right there, where that little rock mound is, right? Kind of like where that rock, right where the exit. You see all that.
The quarry.
Yeah,
quarry. Is that what you call it?
On the other side of the road, there's like a community center. That I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Oh, Del Cerro.
Oh, yeah, Del Cerro. Yeah.
It's funny because El Cerro is not on the map. I don't know.
It's about to be, man. So
I'm pretty sure.
Actually, we're talking at work about. So right now they're building a La Clínica Familia to be out there.
Yeah.
There's like a whole development thing. Like they're about to build a park, all kinds of things.
No kidding.
Right on.
That's good,
man. It's growing.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Vado. Vado. It is pretty big. If you think about it from let's say from I-10.
Yeah.
If you go east or west, Vado is both ways, right?
Right.
If you go east towards the mountains, you won't see a house until miles later. That's Vado. There's houses, there's ranchers up there by the mountain.
Really, like what going east? Yeah,
going east.
Lord's Ranch.
Pretty far in.
Really? I've never gone very far. Yeah.
There's houses out there. And you go west, and when you go west, you're going downhill, right?
Right.
You're going down to the valley. So Vado starts right there in the hill. You go down, and then goes down to the valley, and it keeps going down until you hit La Mesa. It goes past the river and stuff. But I live on the valley side. I live in Holguin's part of the valley.
That's cool,
nice.
man.
We have pecan orchards and.
Oh, it's beautiful out there. It's beautiful.
Dark, quiet. Hopefully it stays like that. Yeah. But I know they're building a bunch of new houses now.
Well, it's grown a lot though. Like my dad used to deliver tortillas. So when I was a kid, I'd go with them, and there used like back in the mid to late '80s and going to the '90s, there used to be like just a little tienditas all down the road, and he sells tortillas because back then there would be like busloads of migrants. They'd come for the week, they'd work, and they'd always buy like cheap stuff, tortillas, beans, and just whatever they needed to get through the week, get paid, go home for the weekend. Mm-hmm. And that's how my dad got to start selling tortillas at all the little stores going down the valley. Mm-hmm. And you go now, first of all, no migrants anymore. I mean, like not like there used to be, and then B, they're like those little tienditas, they don't exist anymore either. Yeah. It's like it's crazy,
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember being a little kid, big old boxes of tortillas go out there. Yeah, that was nuts,
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's changed. But
that's what they call progress, I guess. I don't know. What do we know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is, I guess, but
yeah.
I like how quiet it is, and it growing, and now they're getting rid of the dairies, and I'm sure they're gonna end up putting houses.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
crazy.
that more light pollution. I don't know. That's cool though. I mean, but you know, like I really enjoyed. I grew up there. I really enjoyed the quiet, the peace, the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and
Away from the city.
older I get, the brighter it gets on both sides. When I look to Los Cruces and
It's almost just light all the way. Good. It'll
well,
be like
it's pretty dark still in Vado. You'd be surprised because I mean, at least when you look towards El Paso, obviously it's
all
less,
bright.
You can't see as many stars when you look towards the south. Los Cruces is pretty dark. You'll be surprised.
Yeah, it's still pretty dark.
When you're down in Vado, I mean, yeah, you can see some light. Very dim though. It's not very bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You also got to think about El Paso has Juarez right next to it.
Oh, and Watt is like 1 million and something. Yeah.
And it starts in Anthony. From Anthony and on, it's lights.
Yeah.
So
it's starting to grow
bright.
a lot out there. But one of my favorite memories, just like being out there, like on a Saturday, like looking left, little light, and then you look that way, and it's all big light.
Yeah.
Big old orange light.
Well, you know what's crazy? And I know this has happened up the valley this way going north, but and I'm sure this happens everywhere. As people like homes and all that encroaches on the dairy farms, then everybody's upset that the dairy farms are polluting. Like, you know, with the animal manure and all that stuff, the smell and everything's like, and they talk about the flies, the groundwater, and all. These dairy farms have been there for generations.
Before.
Yeah. I mean, like, they've providing milk and all the milk for all, like, all your cheese, all your dairy products, just milk in general, before people even thought about moving into the valley.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crazy because the reason why we live in Vado is because my dad worked at one of the dairies in Mesquite.
Really?
Yeah. So it's cool. Funny. Let's go back.
Yeah.
So my parents were both born in Guadalajara, Jalisco.
It's funny that we're talking about that then. Like, we're all talking about Tequila and Guadalajara. Yeah. First of all, let me say, Guadalajara, beautiful. I think that's one of the most beautiful towns I've been to.
Go, man.
I've been to a lot of places in Mexico, but Guadalajara is beautiful.
It is. It's the whole state, the whole region.
It's green. It's it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
So crazy. They were both born in Guadalajara, and they both lived and met in it's a city called Saguayo, but it's in Michoacán.
Okay.
Because Michoacán, think about it like we have New Mexico and Texas, we have Las Cruces and El Paso, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a 2-hour drive, but in Mexico's Mexico roads, it's not, you don't go as fast as we go here.
Right.
But it's like 80 miles away. Okay, so Guadalajara is 80 miles from where my parents, I guess, were raised and where they met.
And it gets very rural out there, like way, or is there, or kind of?
It's pretty populated. So it's a city, but it's like an old Mexico city, which means, I mean, I don't know if that's what it means, but it's built like adobe style. Everything's adobe, and the churches, they're like cathedrals, like big structures, like castles.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. Their cities are very different than our cities. And Guadalajara is more like a modern city, so there's actual like skyscrapers and all that. But in Saguayo, in Michoacán, they were towns. They grew up to cities, and there's just the structures are very, very different than over here.
Absolutely.
The houses are like, they share walls, but they're thick walls. You can't hear your neighbor
at all.
They're like 3 foot.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Adobe. So that's where they grew up. And that's where they met.
That's cool.
My dad he migrated to, over here. The first time he came to the U.S., I think he went to California illegally to work, and then he went to Chicago to work. Then my mom had my brother, the oldest, and then my dad moved back to Mexico for a little bit, and then he came back. But one of his uncles owned a dairy at Fabens. You know Fabens?
Yeah.
In Texas? Yeah. Like an hour, it was like 30 minutes from El Paso.
Paso, yeah.
Yeah. Fabens. So my dad moved there, and he worked with his uncle for a while at the dairy, and then he brought my mom and my brother and my sister. Oh, no, wait. Cool. My sister was born in El Paso, so they were already in Fabens when that happened.
That's cool.
And then my dad found a job in a dairy in Mesquite.
Right.
And then they moved over there, and I was born when they were living at the dairy in Mesquite. They had mobile homes for the workers.
Yeah.
And my dad was renting one of the mobile homes.
That's
and
cool.
my first year, I lived in the dairy, and then my parents bought an acre and a quarter of land with pecan trees in Vado, and I grew up there. I don't have memory. Oh shit! I don't have memory of Mesquite. Obviously, I was only a year old, but all my memories are in Vado.
That is crazy cool. You know what we think about being a kid is like when do you remember like struggling as a kid, like your family struggling? It's like seemed like you had everything. You're cool.
Even if you didn't have everything,
Yeah,
you felt like you had everything because you had your parents.
Yeah, that was it.
You had food.
You had food.
Clothes.
Yeah, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't
need
TV in every room or anything like that. If you were a kid back then, you had your parents, you had food, you had a bicycle.
Yeah.
That was it, right? Like you were set.
Mm-hmm.
And I always trip out these kids with their iPads down. Their parents like, here, give him the iPad. Oh, he shuts up, and it's like that's just so bizarre now. Thinking like that now.
Interesting being an American kid, but it's a blessing, bro.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I wonder if that's like an American thing. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
I feel it is. I feel that's an American upbringing. Like when I think about it, I'm sure there are a lot of different types of upbringing depending on the country, state. It's kind of like dialect. Like everywhere's gonna be. I personally feel, in theory, everywhere's just gonna be different.
yeah.
And economy and war or whatever the state of the union is,
Right.
affects even the kids, bro. Like if anybody, it affects kids.
Yeah.
But when you're a parent, like, okay, so my mom always told me this story, right? My mom was like, she's from Casa Grande, there in Chihuahua, like it's like 3 hours south of El Paso, Texas, and back then Casa Grande was like, it was a little ranchito, it was dirt road ranchito, and I grew up in a tortilla shop working with my mom, and I was with my parents, my dad's tortilleria, and so. I would, he'd be out doing deliveries. I'd be working with my mom. And she tells me this story this one time. And she starts talking about growing up in Casa Grande. She's the youngest of 13. And my grandmother is a widow.
Oh,
So her two oldest brothers, which are like 30 years older than her, but like maybe 20. Okay, 20, whatever. So
it could be 30. Some of it happens.
So they found their father murdered in the bushes, and the story is he was shot between the eyes.
Holy shit.
And so the story goes, and I've been to the hacienda, but I didn't know at the time that when he was alive, they had a hacienda there in Cascarandes. They had a carniceria. They made tequila because they grew agave. They had orchards. When we were kids, we'd still go to the orchards and pick fruit so they could sell it because they still had the orchards. But they abandoned the hacienda and they all grew up in a little square house with 2 bedrooms, all 13 of them. So I mean, don't know what the story is. It's like a kind of funny, like fall from grace story, which she never knew because she was a little girl. But geez, where am I going with this? That's
Just background.
I know, right? So, so she's telling me because like my grandmother's raising them, and she would always tell me, she goes, man, Christmas would roll around and we would get oranges and nueces and that the Santa would bring us nueces, nuts, and she goes, and I'd have my little muñeca hecho de garras, and she's like, oh, it was so nice because you'd get like little bags of nuts that you couldn't get ever for the rest of the year, but you got it. And I was like, you're excited about getting nuts. Like, think about that. Like, you never eat walnuts all year long, but you get like a walnut and a pecan or whatever for Christmas, and you're excited about it. Like, talk about like, well, I get excited. I'm like, I'm gonna get an Xbox, whatever. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she starts talking, and it's weird watching this happen to my mom because she was probably like, she's like 65 now, so she'll probably like around 50.
She's 50 right now?
She's 65 now, so she'll probably around 50.
When she told
and
you
she's
this.
telling me the story, and she says, and when my grandmother, she always raised chickens on the little ranchito she had. And she goes, man, did she love to eat the chicken feet And she loved the head of the chicken. And it's like, it just clicked for my mom.
Yeah.
It's like, and she goes, and we always ate the chicken, and she always ate the chicken feet. And you could just see my mom had that aha moment, like, La abuelita always, my grandmother, she always ate the chicken feet and the head, and she gave the rest of the chicken to the kids. But it was like right there watching my mom just like stop and like just be like, that was her favorite part. Wait, she like, that was her favorite part. Like she was just like playing it over in the head, like she gave us the best of the chicken and she ate the leftovers. But she provided for 13 kids at the time.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Did what she had to do.
She did what she had to do as a mother. But like talk about a different kind of life in a different time.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Very different.
Yeah.
I like even me growing up, I mean, I grew up in the 90s and we were already getting like the Nintendo 64 for Christmas, you know?
Yeah.
So, and that's not even the first Nintendo systems, you know? We go back even further back for kids.
Did you get a NES? Did you get a Nintendo?
I did, but I don't know what year it was, but I remember when I was a little kid, we had an Atari 2600.
Oh,
my parents bought it from a garage sale.
You have older brothers, right?
Yeah, I'm the youngest
That's
of five.
Why.
Yeah.
How old are you, brother?
I'm 46, maybe.
You forget in the 40s, bro.
Yeah, you start forgetting. You just start holding on to the 30s.
Like, wait, 45 or 46?
But I wish I would have gotten my hip fixed like 10 years ago because I've really enjoyed my 30s more. Anyways, that's besides the point. It's kind of crazy though. Okay, so you grew up in Vado. So you got like was like going into film and everything, like kind of like a what you want to do. Did you already know when you were young you're going to do that?
Oh no. I didn't know.
I've always wondered. Yeah, when did you get the idea to go to CMT, bro?
It's a whole story. I can tell it for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah. I've wondered.
Yeah. So going back to the tequila, it's really good. Before I start the story,
same.
It's really good, man.
I have a story when I was in New York. Man, that's one thing I'm never short of. Maybe it's like an age thing. I'm never short of stories. I'm on the tequila cruise on the Hudson. And we go down and we go around the Statue of Liberty and then you come back to port. It's like dude, that's right. We forgot our headphones now. Me and Artie, we are so slacking.
See how you sound.
Lord.
Dude.
I hate my voice. This is probably gonna make me
I get that. You're
stop talking, dog.
Nah, this is the second time that we've forgotten to put our headphones on.
Is there a right and left?
Yeah. I think the cord side's your left. But how funny. Already good catch, man.
Yeah, I just realized. I was like, let's see what I sound like.
Can you see?
Well, you know what it is? We start talking.
Can I hear?
Can you?
Yeah, I can. Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
I guess I can't really
About right here.
tell the difference since
Or about right here. You could go like here. Like,
we still make rookie moves. We still make rookie moves. Sorry, man.
No, it's all right.
I think after 48 of these, you'd be like with it.
It's like a hand away, bro.
But yeah, so we go around like Statue of Liberty, all that. But I'm on the boat like with Joe, and we're enjoying the trip. It's tequila and tacos, and so what happens is I tell the waiter, I was like, give me some tequila. You got good tequila? He goes, you like tequila? I was like, you know who I am? I was like, I've been through all over Mexico. Let me tell you, I don't want Patron. I want good tequila.
Yeah.
And he looks at me. He goes, you know what? The owner of the boat, he loves mezcal, and every time he goes down to
Mezcal?
he loves mezcal. And every time he goes to Guadalajara, he only drinks mezcal. I was like, really? He goes and he goes to the places that make mezcal, and he just stays with the people, and he drinks nothing but the mezcal. I'm gonna bring you mezcal from now on, and he says, I'm gonna give you the good stuff.
Have you tried unbranded mezcal? It's like moonshine.
Yeah, it's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tastes sweet.
I don't know. I've had some real
It's different.
turpentine kind of mezcals.
The what?
Like real turpentine taste. It's like made
Is that what you had?
No, not on that time. No, but I've had some mezcal that's been real sketchy. It's like I'm not gonna lose my vision, mezcal. You want some nicotine, man?
Like some Mexican hillbillies or what?
This is my poison. I do a lot of nicotine. I got gum and pouches, man. I got both. Do it, man.
No, I can't do nicotine.
I love nicotine.
Probably a little dizzy.
Wakes me up a little bit.
Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to digress.
No, you're good.
That was a cool trip, though.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. You mean I'm gonna go? I guess I'm gonna join into that mezcal. The first time I tried mezcal, it was before it was. I don't know if it was already known here. I don't know when it was known here, but I didn't see it here or heard people talking about it till pretty recently. Maybe I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago.
You know when you talk about like what came first, like the chicken or the egg?
Mm-hmm.
What came first, the mezcal or the tequila?
Probably around the same time. It's just different tribes in Mexico, probably.
Yeah,
it's just a different type of agave plant. I'm not sure if mezcal is from maguey. Maguey is another. It's a different type of. It looks very similar, but you'll see the difference. The leaves are different.
Really?
You say two different tribes?
Different, yeah.
Like strains.
No, I was talking about the natives that made them.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
These drinks come from, well.
So I'll give you an example. In Mexico, and I don't know the name of this, but I'm curious about it. There was a group of people in Mexico that they get the tequila plant, and they
the agave?
The agave. I'm sorry, the agave. But they hollow out the center of it and let it fill up, and ferment inside, and they take that out and put it in a jug. And there's like a very small window when they can do that, and so it's almost like a fermented like milk of agave, if you could call it that. It's like a very creamy drink, but it was only a certain group of people in Mexico that does that.
That's crazy, really.
And so you talk about it's like very regional, and like hundreds of years ago, whatever group of people lived in that region. So like mezcal and tequila is probably the same way. And so this one with this fermented agave milk. It was like almost going away, almost lost, but people are bringing it back, and they say it's like a very sour like kombucha-like taste.
Oh, okay.
But
I love sour kombucha.
But they siphon it out from the middle of the heart of the agave, and it's like fermented, and it's like an acquired taste. But and I don't remember where it's at, but it's like a little town right down there that people love it like that.
So I know it isn't Jalisco, but you're kind of blowing my mind right now. My abuelito Tomás, I lived by in Vado, or lived with in Vado rather. He was born in 1912, right around the Revolution, in the mountains of Durango. And he told me that when he was 3 years old, his job. I have a video of, like, I had interviewed him about him, that he would take this stick and collect that liquid, or I guess what is it, whatever. But he said it was maguey.
That's interesting. That's interesting. You say 1912 because my grandfather was born in 1911.
No kidding.
Now, while doing the math, because he died my senior year of high school, I'm like, all right, let me figure out when he died.
In Chihuahua?
Yeah, he died here in El Paso, but
he was born in Chihuahua? He said Casas Grandes, right?
No, that was my mom's side.
Oh.
So my family's like, so my mom's side straight up, Chihuahua. And mi abuelita, she looks like straight up like if she was indigenous, Nahual or something like that from the area. My grandfather from my mom's side, he straight up looks like he's German. Little tiny mustache, very Caucasian. He just had the look, German or French, something European. Yeah, he didn't look like he's from Casas Grandes.
Yeah.
And so you look at that, like, which explains why my mom's like todo güera. And then so my father's side, so my grandfather, his parents, my great granddad came with his two brothers from Spain. They were Basque. They came in through Mexico and they went to Mexico City, and they parted ways. And one went down to Argentina, one came up to El Paso, and one stayed in Mexico City. But my grandmother's side, they came through Veracruz, like my great-grandmother or something, and they stayed in a little town there, and I don't remember the name, but they stayed in Mexico for a long time, and they were really big in the banking business way back before the revolution. So when the revolution came out, or erupted, my great-granddad, he was considered a federalista, because he was a bank auditor. He worked for the government, or for the government. So it didn't matter that he wasn't like a general or a politician. He worked for the government, so he's a federalista. So Pancho Villa, when he was rounding up all the federalistas in the state of Chihuahua. They had to escape and run to El Paso to get away from Pancho Villa and them. But my grandmother was only like years old. She was like a little kid. But like it's kind of crazy. It's kind of cool though. Like so, her side of the family is Portuguese. My grandfather's side of the family are Basque Spanish. My mother is Chihuahua, and I don't know what my granddad is. That's crazy. Like it's kind of crazy. Like people, no cars, no airplanes, travel across the world. Like nuts, right? Like I tell this story when I was in New Orleans. There's these two homeboys, and I shouldn't say homeboys. There's these two black guys, like really dark black guys, like very dark, and they're speaking in French, and the lady's like, what is that? And I knew what French is because I know a little bit of French, and I say, I said something like comme ci comme ça, like you guys okay? Like what's going on? And they worked at this little bakery shop, and they get excited, they start talking at me in French. I'm like, all right, whoa, I don't speak French. Like, I just know, like, 12th grade high school French.
You're like, bonjour?
Bonjour, yeah, and these guys were interesting. They came from, like, a country, like, around where the Congo is, worked their way up to Morocco, traveled by foot to get to Morocco. From Morocco, they get to Spain. From Spain, they get to Haiti. From Haiti, they get to Louisiana. It's like...
That's amazing.
Isn't that mind-blowing? And then now they're making beignets out in Lafayette Bakery in Louisiana. Dude, just like mind-blowing. Amazing. Like, you just can't beat that. You think we're cool? Hell no. That is cooler than that.
You know Francis Ngannou, UFC heavyweight?
Yeah.
That's exactly his story. Like, he was working in some type of mine in Africa somewhere, walked across the desert, went to France, started practicing kickboxing, gets deported, and then goes and does it all over again, and then makes it to the UFC, becomes champion.
Talk about, like, having a serious set of stones.
Yeah.
Like, you're just be like, I'm going to go walk to another country. Like, I'm not going to get a train. I'm going to get in my car. Not even get on a horse. I'm going to walk through the worst desert in the world. And, like, you're going to get robbed or mugged or whatever. People, like, war-torn countries.
Mm-hmm.
That's, like, that's stones right there.
Yeah.
Like,
but that still sounds like a pretty exciting life. We have it so easy now that we get bored if
but they're escaping
we're not looking
something,
at our
man.
phone.
To do all that, you're escaping something. Like the people who make the effort to get
it's
over
looking
here
for a better life.
Unless
yeah,
and that's how humans got where we're at because we're always looking for a better.
Well, it's curious. The way it's explained to me is like when you grow up in America, you're already living the American dream, so you don't realize what you have.
Yeah.
When you come from a third world country, the American dream is still a dream that's attainable because you're coming from a country where you don't have like some of the basic stuff that we have. You don't have a government that's going to give you, even like giving you Medicaid. Like people that don't have a job, they're on Medicaid, but we like, hey, here's SNAP so you can buy food.
Mm-hmm.
Here's money so you can pay your bills.
Yeah.
Here's like. We live in a country that can help people like that, and majority of countries around the world can't do that.
Yeah, there's only a select few for sure.
Yeah, so
yeah, that it's funny because ever since again my first full-time job, ever since I started working there, a lot of times it goes a while without talking to friends because it gets so busy when you're working full-time and you're working overtime and you're doing all this. So it's reaching out to friends again and talking to friends, and then people ask, like, how you doing? It's all living the American dream.
Living the dream.
What is it?
Yeah.
Just work, make money to pay so you can live a good life.
That's it.
But if you think about it, you're living most American, or how would you say it? The American dream for most people is work your ass off so you can have money, so you can have a comfortable life, but you're working most of your fucking life.
Yeah.
That's how it feels like. And before I was full-time, I was doing multiple things not a full-time job.
Yeah.
Like one job, you're doing multiple jobs. At the end of the day, it is a fucking full-time job because you're doing a bunch of different shit for money because you need a certain amount of money to live month to month.
Yeah.
Or day by day, whatever. And, you know, and the reason why I ended up at a full-time job is because it felt like I was working more than a full-time job. I was running a business, and that takes, I mean, and it's photography, video, graphics. Yeah. And it takes with meeting with clients, emails, invoices, quotes.
You gotta stay on top of it.
Hiring other people to help me produce a certain video or whatever. You know, it's a lot of work that people don't see you doing, or people, or like, and it can get hard because people are like, oh, how much would you charge for this? And you know, you invest in your equipment, your computer, because you need a good camera, because you need different lenses, you need bags to carry your stuff, you need lights, you need a flash, you need a computer, you need to pay for Adobe to use Photoshop, to use your editing software,
or even the knowledge to use
the knowledge.
Adobe is not easy when you're just first messing with it.
Exactly. Yeah. I went to school for all that, so I mean, I'm still paying student loans. People are like, well, why so much? It's like, well, you know how much it is to produce your thing. If you didn't have the equipment, you got to buy your camera, you got to buy the SD card, you got to know how to edit, you got to know how to transfer the footage. You have to have a good computer if you want to edit high quality stuff.
Yeah.
If you add it all up, we're talking thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Just with a one camera setup. We're still talking with your knowledge, your computer. We're talking $10,000 plus on minimal stuff, you know? And anyways, going back, you know, so you got to make money to buy your equipment to start off with.
Yeah.
You make money to buy better equipment, but you're still paying your bills. If you have kids, you got to pay for whatever your kid needs. If you have a girlfriend, you got to pay for a lot of things, you know? You got a family, you got parents that need help sometimes, you know? It's just things keep coming. So, I mean, I was doing too many things where I was like, well, I'm running my business, and I'm not just doing one thing, I'm doing everything. Meeting with clients, doing the invoices, quotes, go shoot it, edit it, send it, and they're like, oh, can you change this? We go back in. Yeah. And that's just one project. When I'm running different projects, I'm doing photography, I'm doing graphic design, I'm working on a logo, I'm working on photos, I'm working on a video, and I'm teaching two classes. You got about 20 students in each class. That's 20 assignments to grade.
You're right.
Multiple assignments a week, because sometimes you have 3 assignments a week for each class. So you got 6 times 20 times 2. It's 2 classes.
Yeah.
You gotta prep for class. You gotta go over your stuff. You can't just show up to class and be like, well, we're gonna go over this, and you can't go over it with them for the first time. Once a year, you know? You got to prepare for it before you go to class. You got to go over what you're going to go over in class, because you don't want to sound like an idiot.
Right.
Like, I don't remember this. This is last year's. I taught this last year, and I went over this last year, but you got to go over it again.
It's a lot, man.
Yeah, so you teach, you go to class, you grade, but then you still have a life, you know? You have a girlfriend, you have a kid, you have your parents, you have friends.
Yeah.
And I was just getting tired of it. It's like, I loved my clients, but when I say dealing with clients, it's not like, oh, I'm dealing with clients. It's just like, you're making business.
Right.
It takes time to communicate, to see what they need, what they want, what they need changed. And it just stacks on. And you know, my girlfriend helps me, and I hire other people to help me shoot if we need more camera operators. But it's just too much. Like,
it's tough.
To do it by yourself, like, you're by yourself running a whole business, and it's like, oh my God, like, I'm burning out. So I was like, and I was also doing photo booths. I have a friend that owns a photo booth business, and I was one of the techs, so I'd go pick up a photo booth, go build it up, like at a wedding and stuff, and it takes beautiful pictures. It prints right there on the spot. It's really cool. It's really cool. It was a fun job too. So I was doing that too, and I was doing landscaping too.
It's like, in terms of time, you're stealing from Peter to pay Paul in terms of time, because time is only finite in 24 hours in a day.
Exactly. And you got to sleep in that too.
Yeah,
and eat and cook and wash your clothes and all this, clean your house and clean after your dog. And so, and I was doing landscaping as well. Like if I was not teaching or shooting or editing, I was doing landscaping. I have a friend that he owned a production company. Landscaping company business here in Las Cruces.
Yeah.
Great friend, Jack Storm. Shout out to Jack Storm. He's awesome. He sold everything and now he's living out in the land.
That's cool.
In Arizona.
Nice. Good for him.
Yeah, he's doing great. So I was helping him out and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because you have to make money, dude. Everything's so expensive nowadays, So I was shuffling all of that. And it's like, oh God, and it got to the point where I just couldn't say no to work. So I was taking any job. It doesn't matter what it was.
Right.
It was teaching video, photos, graphics, landscaping, photo booths. And it's just too many things going on at once, writing too many things on my phone. And I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. I was doing it for a long time.
You stopped all of that, man?
Huh?
You stopped doing all of that?
I'm still doing a few side gigs. I'm not doing any filming right now because it's a lot more time. It's really time consuming. Wow. But I got hired at White Sands. I have a few friends that work out there. And a position opened up, and they put a good word on for me, and I really thank them, appreciate that, because
that's cool, man.
I was able to just focus on one job, but I still, for some reason, kept saying yes to other jobs. Yeah. And I'm still right now this whole month, on weekends, I haven't had a Saturday off in I don't know, a few weeks.
Yeah. Because
I'm doing other jobs I'm picking up on the side. Because I still want to do things other than
absolutely.
Work, right?
Yeah.
Other than I love White Sands. It's photography. It's something that I do. It's in the desert, and I love it. But
first of all, I don't think Americans know the beauty of White Sands. If you live regionally and you can get out here, that's cool. And I think most people may go once a year, once every couple of years, but they're really missing out on what this this marvel of nature is.
Yeah, and we have White Sands the National Park, which is a small section.
Yeah. We
have White Sands Missile Range, which is huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge property. It goes from, you see the organs. It goes down to you have Aguirre Springs, and then right after Aguirre Springs, pretty much White Sands Missile Range already. You have the military base. That goes all the way to Alamogordo, and then you have Holloman Air Force Base right there. They have their section. They kind of share it. They work together. And it goes all the way to Socorro, New Mexico, on that side of the mountains. That width, all the way to Socorro, New Mexico. And then there's another part called the Extended Range, which goes past that. It's farmland, but they pay the ranchers to use it.
Well, so White Sands Missile Range, on the south end, there was a number of large ranches, and the government used eminent domain to take it over during the war.
Whoa. Yeah.
And there's still a casita right here when you go through the Highway 70 on the left-hand side behind Mineral Mountain. There's a little casita of the ranchers that used to live there, because they said, we need this land.
For rations? It was just all army rations?
No. They used eminent domain to create White Sands testing range.
Oh, got it.
And so, and there's stories like William Bonney. He stayed at those ranch houses, the people that live there. Mm-hmm. The White Sands it's what is it called? Camino de Muerte, because there's no water. So people that traveled it used to die.
Oh, no, it's called, I know what you're talking about. It's called, the Camino del Muerto or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Because we go right now. It's not a big deal. We drive 45 minutes. You're across. Yeah. You're on a horse or you're walking. You're going a day, 2 days, 3 days in the sun that reflects off the sand. No water, so a lot of people didn't make it. So Holloman Air Force Base. This goes back to World War II. So Fort Bliss was on the, and I think this is before the war. Fort Bliss used to be on the west side of the mountains, right there on the Rio Grande, right there on the west side.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then they eventually moved it to the east side, and they opened Biggs Air Force Base. So that's where they used to train heavy bombers out of at Paso. That was like a heavy bomber base. So during World War II, the tactic was you send your bombers out, and then they have a fighter escort. So when they were training bombers out of El Paso at the time, the bombers would fly up the valley on the other side of the Sangre de Cristos, and the fighter escorts that would train with them came out of Hallman Air Force Base. So Hallman Air Force Base was a fighter pilot base that would train with the bombers out of Fort Bliss.
But I mean, it's close enough to me.
It's
when you're hitting those types of speeds, you're going to get into contact within 10, 15 minutes.
Right. So, I mean, and that's kind of what I know about that. I don't know too much about it, but it's still kind of interesting, I think.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think New Mexico has the biggest airspace that is, what is it called?
Maybe short of Texas or something like that.
You mean military airspace?
No, military airspace. I think where it's like no fly zone.
Well,
because it starts.
So
Chaparral also has
Nevada.
No, they have the McGregor Range.
They have McGregor Range. That's right.
They have McGregor Range, and then they have the Doña Ana Range. Which is south. It's south of White Sands.
So White Sands actually stretches. So like when they test missiles, they test the whole range all the way up to Colorado. So it's not like just from here to Socorro.
Up there, yeah.
Like they launch from like either to or from like going all the way to Colorado. So out of a weird coincidence, I was in Kauai, Hawaii, and I was at a White Sands. And that's actually the largest U.S. Army missile test range in the world.
What?
Because they launch into the Pacific.
As in not
because it's the largest because it's into the Pacific. There's nothing there, so they launch rockets and they do tests with the Navy into the Pacific. It's just open water. So the lady I was talking to, she goes, "Oh yeah, this is the white beaches, the White Sands. This is the largest missile test range for the United States." I go, "Oh, that's interesting because that's in the middle of the ocean." She goes, "Yeah." I go, "I also live by the largest missile test range on the mainland at White Sands in New Mexico." Also,
what?
Yeah, like right, you know what I mean? Like
that's crazy.
Just like kind of a weird coincidence, you know what I mean? Seeing them both.
Yeah, we do live in a very interesting place, and a lot of people here in Las Cruces don't know where they live. They have no idea the history.
The Trinity site.
Las Cruces of White Sands. White Sands is literally on the other side of the mountains.
It's beautiful. It stretches far. Like
you can see the organs from White Sands.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean the what is the gold legend from the mountains? The
Hermit?
No, not the Hermit. The Hermit was just a guy that lived in the mountains, and he would light a fire every year, and he just lived out there. People would go see him. But no, there's the it's an old Spanish story of that when you go north of the Paso del Norte, you count like three mountain peaks, and then when you go to 3 mountain peaks, you see like the 4th mountain peak or so, or the 3rd one maybe, and you go and you're supposed to find like it's called like Los Padres gold mine. People have been looking for gold in there, and then you have
is it the Los Padres mine?
I think so. And then you have the Doc Nos mine with the Spanish gold, where the U.S. Army took all his gold, and then Geronimo was up and down here all the time.
Oh yeah, I hear he's like post up in Fair Acres when he was hiding from the army or whatever.
Right. Then you have the mountains here where there's caves where the Indians would go through to get water, and they'd hide from the cavalry. You have the buffalo soldiers that were stationed here. You have like there's like a lot of like hardcore history.
Yep.
Okay, so a little bit like history about Las Cruces. Okay, a little bit of history about Las Cruces and Mesilla. So if you're from the rest of the world, like, hey, it's part of the Gadsden Purchase. The only piece of land we bought from Mexico that we didn't win in a war. And the reason Las Cruces became a bigger city than, say, the Mesilla is because a long time ago, the railroad, when they were building the train to come on the lower end of the Rockies That's why we needed the Gaston Purchase, because you know they'd build these big old trestle bridges through the Rockies. You have a big snowpack, then you'd have the floods. They'd wash their wood trestle bridge away, so they needed the Gaston Purchase to be able to get through the Rockies, and if it's my understanding, like the big train people back in the day went to Mesilla and said, we want to put a train depot here. And the people back then said, well, we're not sure. We have to talk about it. We have meetings and all that. And they couldn't make up their mind. So then they approached the little pueblito of Las Cruces. Hey, we want to make a little train stop here so we can go west. And they're like, yeah, sure, not a problem. Put a train depot. We're all good. So they put their train depot in Las Cruces.
And that's why it's called Las Cruces too, right?
No. I mean, I don't know why the crosses. I've
heard a rumor.
The train tracks. The crosses.
Okay.
Las Cruces.
I heard that there were settlers that were passing through here. It's kind of like the
I heard the Indian story that they came over the mountain. They said Misia Valley.
No.
That when people got here, that there were like scores of crosses everywhere.
It could very well be, right? Very dry. Who knows? But
all right, we should ask.
Yeah. We'll ask
Google, ChatGPT, Grok, whatever.
Real fast. So when you're in Las Cruces, there's a street called Las Cruces Street.
Yeah.
And it goes, east-west, and on the west end, that's where the train depot was.
Oh yeah.
And so
it's still there, right?
It's still there, right?
Historical building.
So when you come out of the train depot, you notice there's like old growth, like trees, like elm trees, like or non-bearing mulberries rather. Yeah. That lined the road right there by the Pioneer Women Park and all that. Mm-hmm. Those trees were planted coming out of the train depot, so when people got off the train, they'd be like, oh, it's a beautiful town, look at all the trees. Then you kind of get out of that little area, then you're in a desert. But yeah, so like a lot of those really old trees in the area were part of the trees that the original people of Las Cruces planted. So when you got off the train depot, you see how green and beautiful the area is.
What is a valley? So you have access to the water.
It does.
So you can make it green. As we see, we have all the pecan orchards. Don't we have the biggest pecan orchards? Or New Mexico owns?
I heard that we provide like a majority of the world's pecans.
I think so, right?
There's like another state too. I want to say something like Georgia or some other state like that too.
Hell no.
But I think New Mexico or might be. I don't know if it's New Mexico or just Las Cruces in general.
I heard Doñana County.
It might be Doñana County.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, well, this area for sure.
Oh, is Hatch in Doñana County?
No.
So what were you going to ask?
Well, I don't know.
Ara.
Hey.
Ara, are you alive? Are you there?
Hey, I'm right here for you. Not exactly alive in the classic sense, but buzzing with energy and ready to help.
Artie has a question for you.
Oh, Hardy's got a question? I'm all ears. Or rather, all voice.
What's
Hardy curious about today?
Was it about the history of Las Cruces?
No. Hey, Ara, this is Artie. So my question, why is the city of Las Cruces, New Mexico named Las Cruces?
The city of Las Cruces, New Mexico got its name from the Spanish words for the crosses. It's said to come from a tragic event in the 1800s where a group of travelers were killed, and crosses were placed at their graves, marking the area.
Ask about the train tracks.
It's not from...
Does that creep you out?
It's not from the train tracks crossing in this area?
Nope, not from the train tracks crossing.
Okay.
I say it explains a lot.
You know what? No. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking we need conspiracy theory Ara to answer this question. Conspiracy theory.
All right. But we do...
Ara, why is Las Cruces, New Mexico named Las Cruces?
Yeah, look it up, dude. Do your Google AI or whatever.
Yo, the official story is Las Cruces means the crosses in Spanish. Named after some old wooden crosses marking graves from a massacre or something back in the 1800s. But let's get real. There's a darker truth. Those crosses, they're not just memorials. They're symbols tied to a secret society that's been running experiments in the desert for centuries. Think about it. Las Cruces is near White Sands, where the government tests weird tech and UFOs crash land. The crosses are a cover, a signal for initiates who know the real deal. Alien rituals or interdimensional portals. Ever wonder why the town feels so eerie at night? What do you think's really buried under those?
It is not eerie at night. Yes, sir. Are you asking a conspiracy theory, Ara, me, or a regular assistant?
Ara. Would that have any connection to TRC with its history?
All right, you say Las Cruces ain't airy at night, but hear me out. TRC, yep, that company's got its claws deep in some shady stuff. On the surface, they're all about ambient monitoring and emissions testing, right? But dig deeper. Their Las Cruces office is strategically placed near white sands and old Pueblo sites. Why?
Hey, Ara.
Because they're not just testing air.
Hey, Ara. Please disregard the last question. Instead, I wanted to ask about the town of TRC, New Mexico, and the connections to Las Cruces and underground societies.
Okay, so you're diving into Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, huh? That's TRC, not TRCZ mix-up, but it's a wild place. The mainstream line is it's just a quirky little town named after a 1950s game show, sitting pretty on the Rio Grande, halfway between Albuquerque and Las Cruces. Cute, right? Nah, that's what they want you to think. Tier C is a hotspot for weird vibes, and I'm not just talking hot springs. Those springs, they're not natural. They're linked to underground tunnels where secret societies have been meeting for decades.
She's a little over the edge today.
Ne demek sizin olabilir? TRC ve Las Cruces hakkındaki sırrı kapmaya mı
Whoa, okay. Well, she's speaking German.
All right.
No, she was going. I think she was going over the edge because, like, last time we had Conspiracy Theory R on, she seemed more on point, but now she's all like secret societies today.
It seems a little more playful, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's just a really playful AI.
There's sometimes like we asked about the Clinton stuff, and she was like on point with it, but this time she's like, oh, secret societies, and like I think it's just kind of going off the wall.
You should introduce them to the Ratchet one.
Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there in a while. But you know, going back to this area, it's a beautiful area. Like, so did you get travel a lot through White Sands and all that? Going back to White Sands?
Well,
or were you able to?
My job, because of my job, I drive throughout the whole range because I do documentary photography. To anything that needs any type of documentary photography, which means document any test they do at White Sands. So, we're the only ones allowed to take photos.
So you document for the guys doing the tests.
Correct.
Wow, that's cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
So I had a friend that did guard duty.
Okay. Yes.
And this is like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and he would talk about like driving the perimeter of the range in Humvees. And they would, that was part of their job. They would just periodically drive the perimeter and go out there. And he says, running into the most random people in the middle of the desert. And he says, manning that 50 cal, and you find something like a Chinese national in the middle of the desert. And he's like, cocking that 50 cal, be like, do not approach the vehicle. And then he says, like, just watching the tests. It was cool. He says, you're on guard duty. He said, like, one thing he says, like, they're all watching a tank. And everybody's watching this tank way down range in binoculars. He goes, binoculars we're watching too. And it's just chilling. You don't hear anything. You don't see anything. But you just start seeing like a cloud form around the tank and just holes punching in a tank.
Damn.
And he's like, you just kind of look around you. You don't see anything. And he's like, where the hell is that coming from? Like, you don't even hear it. But they're testing like cannons on planes. And he said the coolest thing he saw that he was in the time he was out there, the short time, was they were doing like an EMP style gun, and they were shooting square pegs of steel, but like imagine a square box of solid steel, and just from the force of this device they were shooting it from, going through like 6 or 10 feet of steel.
Oh, shit.
It's not cone. It's not rifled. It's just a square block. And you put enough force behind it, it would punch through 6 to 10 feet of steel like nothing. He goes, it's the most amazing thing to see. It's like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? You know what I mean? He goes, he saw cool stuff out there. He just, rest of the time, they were just out in the middle of nowhere doing nothing, just waiting and being told what to do otherwise. He said it was a cool experience. That's what I imagined.
It is a really cool experience. Just the drive in the range, within the range, just driving anywhere in the range. The range is, like I was saying, it's huge. It goes, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how many, I forgot how many miles, but it's a really big fucking range.
It's huge, right?
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's just driving through it, and you see a bunch of oryx.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, you see oryx. You see some wildlife. But the terrain changes the more north you go.
Yeah.
It's like you're going up in elevation. I don't know. It looks pretty flat out there, but I mean, there's a few hills and stuff, but there's a lot of really flat land, and I'm sure that's pretty convenient for the testing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm just amazed by the beauty of it. It's crazy.
Beautiful. Right?
I like to call myself a desert rat. I love the desert. I grew up here. I love hiking here. I love off-roading here. Just being out here is just, for me, getting away from the city.
Yeah.
It's the best thing. So being out there,
and we're not even in a big city at that.
I know. Yeah. Oh my God, I can't live. I wouldn't be able to live in a big city. But yeah, no, it's very interesting working out there. You do see a lot of things, and I can't talk about a lot of the things.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just to know, I mean, like whatever is, because there's a lot of public information about white sands.
Right.
Yeah, they do a lot of tests, missiles, and a bunch of technology. That's all it's about.
Well, it's funny because people talk about missile testing at white sands, but they also do like logistic tests, trucks, delivery systems. Like, it's just not missiles. It's like a whole wide range of testing. The Navy gets out for that from time to time. The Army gets out there. Like, it's just like a really large scope of things. Like, and when my buddy was telling me about the like logistics, I was like, they test logistics? He goes, well, yeah, we have to make sure we can get from point A to point B in the worst conditions possible. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
It's so crazy. I just, one of my best friends, Donnie, you know Donnie? He just applied for logistics. He does logistics in Maryland. I forgot what Army installation up there. But he just applied at White Sands for logistics.
Sick.
There's
so
a guy
hoping he gets jobs.
He's gonna get it.
No doubt, that'd be awesome. Good
he
for
has
him.
the experience. He met all the requirements from the information you can access. But
I think it's Ryan Macbeth on YouTube. He has this channel where he talks about like a lot about Army stuff and politics and all that. And he says like the one thing about the U.S. military is like, we're not an army. We're like a logistics specialist. We're the only military that can get you anywhere in the world, soldiers, supplies, anything you need in 24 hours. And he said more than any other military in the world. But it's like the testing they do out here. I mean, that's part of it, right? Can we get from point A to point B? You know, I thought that was like a really interesting statement he made. It's kind of cool. Okay.
It's like every mission has that. Like,
yeah. Well, you have to. Like, you're not going to just drop 10,000 guys in the middle of nowhere without being able to get food and ammo, right?
Water,
like, you have to be able to figure out, like, if we drop it from a plane, is it going to smash against the ground and just get destroyed, or is it going to parachute down?
How do we get to Iwo Jima?
Exactly, right? Yeah. So, okay. So, White Sands. I've had the pleasure of having a job where I've driven all over New Mexico. I used to drive all over New Mexico twice a week. And then I used to drive at night. If I had to be somewhere the next morning, they'd say, oh, just go in the morning, like go at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning. But I would go overnight because I think it's beautiful to drive across New Mexico like at midnight. No traffic, no lights. It's cold. It's refreshing. But man, like, okay. I'm not going to say it's crazy because it's not. But you see things in New Mexico. I've done the drive from here, San Antonio, Dallas, Denver, California. I've done all that so many times.
It's a drive away.
It is, but you know what? There's nothing like driving around New Mexico in the middle of the night. Like, after you do that enough times, you start to see a couple bizarre things. Like, you know, and I know we have the whole Roswell thing. And I like to throw that out there, right? You know, we have the Roswell thing, but there's something going on. Like, I'm not going to say like lizard people, aliens, but you see some interesting things. Like, you know what's cool? Like, two things I've seen is like when you drive in and out of Albuquerque enough times, you see so many ospreys flying in and out of Albuquerque. And they're ospreys, and they're cool. Like, sometimes when you take off from Albuquerque International Airport, you'll see our ospreys just parking there on the tarmac. Because it's right there by the Kirkland Air Force Base.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and they're cool to see. They're legit cool to see. You know, like sometimes they have the propellers up like a helicopter, and sometimes they have them down, and they just, and then because they're right there by the Air Force Base, I don't know if they're training, but they're really low to the ground, so you can see details. And one time, like in New Mexico, there's a lot of old bombing testing ranges. Like here, west of town is right where there's a cheese factory. On the mesa up there's an old bomb test range. And when you're in an airplane, which for my birthday I was taken up on a personal little plane, you can see the concentric circles of where the bombers had a target that dropped their like fake payloads of bombs during World War II. Like just not very far from up here. So you see cool stuff, but one day I was on the road, and you know, there's, I don't know, just by chance, I'm watching like a line of C-130s. Like you see one here, you see one, you know, it doesn't look very far, but you know they're far away from each other. Then you see a third one, you see a fourth one, and a fifth one, and it's cool because I'm driving down the interstate, and there's like very clearly from the interstate, there's like a mesa. And you're watching like a bomber like in a steep dive, and like, what in the hell are they doing? They're not bombers, they're C-130s. They're like the big ones. And you're just seeing it come down, and I don't know what they're practicing, but they're just coming straight down, and then they pull up, and you just see like a plume of black smoke come out of the engines, and like they just crank the engines on those things, and they just like nothing. Each one of them just dive bombing like that and just kicking on, like, I don't know if those C-130s have afterburner or something, and they just take off like going almost straight up. It was like the coolest thing to see. You know, like you see cool stuff, and then you see the weird stuff. But I don't know, it's like, I guess that's the part of the Land of Enchantment, right?
It's part of it. There's a lot of history in New Mexico, and it's sad that most of the country doesn't even fucking know that we're a state. I don't know what New Mexico.
That's a good thing, bro.
We're a secret state.
Let them know.
Literally, let them know. A lot of secret projects are born and were born in New Mexico.
That's right.
We have Alamo. That's where they created the atomic bomb.
That's right.
They tested it in Trinity Site, which is San Antonio, New Mexico, which is part of the White Sands Missile Range because it goes that far up north. The missile was born in New Mexico. The monkeys, the monkey
from Goddard, yeah.
Farm for didn't they use like monkeys to send them to space?
There's like a monkey farm there at Holloman Air Force Base, and apparently on the north end of Holloman Air Force Base there are still monkeys out there. They
still have the in Tula Rosa. They still have a monkey facility.
Yeah.
I have two friends that work at Holloman Air Force Base.
Yeah.
We grew up here, man. We know people around here. We know people that work.
And everybody, there's always like whispers of this and whispers of that.
Yeah, we know there's a lot of things going on in New Mexico, and people don't know how deep New Mexico really goes, and the history within our military, within our best technology.
I always tell people this: the Bataan Death March.
I do that.
That was so I went to the last Bataan Death March before COVID. Which was the largest one. Which was the largest one. Yeah. I did that one. It took me all stinking day, and I did the heavy pack.
Oh no!
All my friends signed up for it, and so like on the last day you can sign up for it. They're like, because I'm all CrossFit, right? So I'm all CrossFit. I can do this. All my friends are all saying like, oh, we're training, we're doing this. I was like, psh. I signed up for it on the last day. Like 2 weeks later, I just showed up with my backpack. like didn't train for it, just showed up. Finished it. Wasn't a good idea, but I finished
stretch at least?
You finished it. No, you don't have time to do that shit.
No, you have to work up to it. That was a dumb thing.
I've never trained for it, but I've never done the heavy.
Well, going back to the Bataan Death March, though, where did a lot of those guys in the actual Bataan Death March in the Philippines or in Manila, where did those guys come from? They're from New Mexico.
A lot of them.
So New Mexico has a lot of coastal artillery defense units. Like you go to Silver City, there's like a little artillery unit there, like at the VFW or like Fort Bayard, whatnot. It's because a lot of our coastal artillery was out of New Mexico. They were in Manila doing coastal artillery defense when the Japanese invaded the Philippines. There were a lot of New Mexicans in the Bataan Death March, which coincidentally is why they came together and did the Bataan Death March here. The Rough Riders from San Juan Hill. Where did the Rough Riders come from? This part of the country, because Teddy Roosevelt wanted some guys that were used to this kind of weather, this kind of terrain on horses, which was not different from Cuba. Came from New Mexico. Like General MacArthur, where did he grow up as a kid? Fort Sumner. Some of the first German POWs from a U-boat, where were they held prisoner at? Fort Sumner, New Mexico. There's a buried there. Like a lot of really cool history, like in New Mexico, like legit good history.
Well, You know the scientist. What's his name? Von Braun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was a German. Yeah.
Where did he do his?
In New Mexico. What is Goddard High School and Goddard all this named after? His name was Goddard. He was a German.
Mm-hmm. We also have Sunspot at Cloudcroft. No, it's near Cloudcroft. It's called Sunspot, New Mexico, I think, right?
Yeah.
The discoverer of Pluto.
And that they have a what is it, like a satellite or radar or what?
It's like a telescope. To look at the sun. Yeah.
To look at the sunburst and all the sunspots, literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
That's New Mexico.
That's New Mexico. You know, one of the greatest alien stories comes from Dulce, New Mexico.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
You know about that? About the
Dulce,
underground base, and that they had
base.
like there's this one guy that he said escaped and his hand was like actually melted, and he said it happened down there.
They had a shootout with some
like he said the Green Berets were down there and they were fighting aliens.
The underground fight was here
in Dulce, New Mexico.
I've heard of that battle.
So they have a what is it called, a biology lab or some shit, where they mix supposedly human DNA with not aliens, with maybe even now, but
deep so the legend goes, like deep in the underground base, he didn't realize. They knew that they were doing something, and they say that there's aliens here, and so he happened to go down to like a lower level by accident or something, and he says they see like a lab where they're doing like weird genetic testing on humans, and then they broke out fighting or something like that, and there was like an alien versus human war, and you could believe whatever you want. I'm not saying this is the story though. You can listen to it, and this guy talked about it.
He's not the only one though.
Yeah, he wasn't the only one. So I was in Taos, New Mexico, like working. My day ended in Taos, New Mexico on a Friday. I was like, I'm already in Taos. So I just kept driving up through like Chibayo, and I drove all the way out to Dulce. There's nothing there. It's like one road in, couple of houses, a DOT station, and then one road going out. I will say one thing interesting. Like, you don't see anything. It's like, it's like driving through a forest. It's like nothing out there. You go through like a valley, forest on both sides, like you're in a canyon. And there are weird smokestack ventilation like pipes that come out of the ground in the whole valley. I mean, and I can say that because I saw it.
Yeah.
Because at that time I was like 20 something, and I was like balls deep in conspiracy theories, reptilian, David Icke, and Obama was going to kill the population or whatever. Like I was really into it. So when I heard about the Dulce thing, I was like, oh, that's in New Mexico. Like I gotta go see it. I was like, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna get abducted. I'm gonna be able to tell everybody like this really happened. like if I you build it up in your mind, and it's very uneventful. You drive in, and matter of fact, I drove in on the one road that comes from like Chimayo, and I get in the Dulce, and I go to the very end of it. And it's just like it ends in a dirt road, and there's rocks. It's a beautiful path. I got out and I walked out there. I was like, and I like you stand out there. You're just like, it's all quiet. And you're just like, it's beautiful, and you're just like, it's like, where is it? You're waiting. You're like, what is it? And so I get in the truck, and then I drive out the other road, which goes down to like Cuba, New Mexico. But But that's the only thing I can say for sure. As I was driving to Cuba, there are things that look like some sort of ventilation pipes that come out of the ground. All over the whole, like, you see them all over, just like small pipes. And if you didn't know it was a ventilation pipe, you wouldn't think of anything about it. But, you know, like if you do any kind of work, you recognize it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could say about that area that I saw that was weird.
Yeah. It's funny. I heard about this story a long time ago or do you remember that show UFO Hunters? There's an episode on that. And not just that, later I saw more shit on it and then more shit, and I was a subscriber to Gaia TV.
That's a really cool channel.
It is really cool, man, because in all reality, you know, I'm a big UFO alien person. If you go to my house, there's aliens all over my house, dude.
I got that alien vodka right
little,
up there.
little monitos and shit. But
I'm not going to go into my
we're
hardcore stories.
not the only
one at least. Come on, man.
One of what?
He said he's not going to go into his hardcore stories. I'm like,
I
know you have a story.
Dude. I got some stories.
I've told my story.
How about this? We'll go back to how I got into film.
Okay.
We diverted into tequila, which I can throw back tequila in there with. I made a commercial or I worked on a commercial for a tequila. My friend Carlos Cabe from Juarez. I met him at NMSU. We were film students together, or we were, I don't know, whatever you call it. I'm not the greatest at English or Spanish. I'm in the middle. I learned both languages.
You were studying at the same time.
I'm like, I know how to communicate in two languages, read, write, and speak, but I'm not great at either. Yeah. Anyways, my friend Carlos hit me up to see if I can help him on this tequila commercial. The owners live in El Paso, but they're from Chihuahua. Chihuahua.
Which is not uncommon. It's not uncommon.
Correct. It's not uncommon. No, it's not. Yeah. El Paso, Las Cruces, most Mexicans, not all of them, most Mexicans are from the state of Chihuahua. I believe the owners of this tequila company were from the city of Chihuahua. Okay. Anyways, so they flew us out there. Anyways, we flew to Guadalajara, and then we went to Arandas to film it at where they were making their tequila. And it was a really cool experience because, one, obviously my family comes from that area.
Yeah,
that's my roots, and it was a really great experience. It was fun. Yeah. And when we got over there on the first day, we were going over all the things we had to do. We went over the location and everything, and we took minimal equipment.
Yeah. To
film this, and so we were going over everything, and they started talking about it's not the face of the tequila, but they wanted it. The tequila is called Don Vicente. If anybody's listening to this, look it up. Don Vicente. I'm not sure if it's already out on
the market.
Stores, in the market, on the market. Yeah, correct. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Help me out.
I got you.
I skip a beat. I'm not sure if it's in the market yet, but it's called Don Vicente, and oh my god, I lost my spot.
Yeah, so they were looking for somebody.
Oh yeah, no, they were not looking. They had somebody, right?
So they did have somebody.
Yeah, they had somebody. They already had their people already. Their people that were gonna come. It was not the face.
That's www.siptequila.com for Don Vicente Tequila.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. So we're going over everything, and they went over this. Again, it's not the face of the tequila, but Don Vicente. It sounds like a man, right? Obviously, right?
Yeah, it's like Don Julio.
Yeah,
Jack
exactly.
Daniels.
And they wanted to add the Don Vicente as a tequilero, or not? I don't know, just to represent the thing, right? But they didn't want to put a face to it. It's like it's not a person, literally, right? It's a tequila, but they wanted to give it that like vibe, you know, it's like this Don Vicente, like tequila with experience and blah blah blah. So they had this guy in mind, and they're showing the group the photo, and I forgot who, but somebody was like, this guy looks like the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy. And he's from Guadalajara. I don't know who this guy is. I'm sure nobody watching this will ever know who this guy is, unless somebody worked on this or was this guy, which I got it. He's from Guadalajara. Anyways, so the owners were like, they're like, damn. Like, now that somebody said that, like, it really does, you know? So they were like, oh my God, we gotta shoot this tomorrow. And they're not really happy with now this discovery or whatever you want to call it. He looks like the Colonel. Then yeah, he looks like this guy from KFC. And we're like, oh no. And it's like, oh fuck.
And I can see that for like for Mexico, like somebody dressed all white and having like the mustache.
Yeah, so I don't know this guy. The picture they showed somebody, I forgot who, somebody said that, and we're like, wow, okay. And then, well, they kind of gave a description of what they were looking for. And I was like, actually, I have an uncle that lives, because my family lives really close to this place. I mean, again, Jalisco and Michoacan are like they're neighboring states, right?
Yeah.
And they're near the border of the state.
One of my best friends goes to Michoacan like twice a year, every year.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah. Dude, it's a beautiful state.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah. It's, you know, how they say cartels are kind of crazy out there. Yeah. You're not going to experience that unless you're there like every day, maybe
the best advice, the best I was ever told is, if you don't look for trouble down there, you're not going to find it.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, so I'm like, well, that's my uncle. That's my mom's brother. He kind of fit that description that they gave us. And he's 2 hours away. And I showed him pictures. I was like, this is his Facebook. This is how he looks like. Yeah. And they were like, okay, yeah, for sure. Like, this is like, and I was like, that's crazy. Let me call him and see if he even can. Like, what are the chances that he's available tomorrow? Yeah. Yeah. This is the night before. So I'm like, fuck. I called my mom because I don't think I had his number. But I remember I called my mom and I told her, and she's like, oh my God, yes. I think she gave me his number. So I called my uncle, and I don't know. I don't want to make it up, but something like that, right? Yeah. I hate making shit up or like. Anyway,
just tell it like it is, bro.
Yeah. So exactly. So it's I called my mom or somebody, but I remember I spoke to somebody. And I think it was my mom. And then I got my uncle's phone number and I called him and he was available, and I was like, oh no fucking way, like, and I gave him the address and everything, and he said yeah, he was down. He showed up the next day. We shot the whole thing. It came out really cool. I can show it to you later.
That's pretty cool.
Or whenever. It is pretty cool, man. And I was really happy with it. And it's my uncle, and it was just last minute type of thing. Anyway, so that's going back to like that's what I do. That's what I was doing, I guess, before White Sands. I was doing more video than photography, really. Now I do more photography, but it's really similar.
That's
if you know,
cool.
you know. But that was my main thing, video and cinematography. So that's what I was in that. I was a cinematographer for that.
I think about like if you're like in a video, how do you keep up with the changing technology? Because I feel like it just changes and advances so fast. It seems like almost like every day, like something new comes out or some sort of advancement, like, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, there's two different types of people. There's the one that keeps up with the tech. Yeah. And there's the one, this works for me and I'm doing it. And you work with what you got.
Right.
You can update your camera every year. You can update a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry.
No, you're good.
I eat a lot of ice, and now that I'm on a mic, I hear it. But maybe I'm exaggerating with every year, but no, technology does advance quickly.
It seems like more so now than ever, too. Like you think about it, yeah.
Definitely. My camera is it's almost 10 years old. If anything, it's 10 years old, man.
Just out of curiosity, we haven't asked you this. Like, what's your camera preference?
My camera of preference?
Yeah.
For what?
Photography.
For photography?
Yeah.
So look, I've only always shot with Canon up until I started working in White Sands. Right now we're shooting with Nikon, but we're moving to Canon really soon.
Really?
So I'm excited about that. I really love Canon, and just because I started with it and I'm really comfortable with it, and I'm still using I think it's like 10 years old already. It's a Canon Mark IV. No. Canon 5D Mark IV. I still shoot in 1080, and a lot of people are mind blown because it looks really good. I still shoot in 1080p.
So 1080, it goes like 1080, then 2K, then 4K, right?
Yeah, there's 2K and there's 4K. And 4K is the norm right now, right?
Is it really?
Yeah, like you deliver a project and it's like, oh, it's shot in 4K. I haven't shot anything since like December or so, but I still shot everything in 1080p. Really? And because this camera has such a good picture that a lot of people don't even realize that it's 1080p. It has a great sensor. Anyways, this camera is amazing. It's a Canon 5D Mark IV. It's for photography. Right. And I shoot video with it. I shoot both photography and video, right? So my preference would be Canon, going back to the question, right? And right now that I'm working with Canon, I'm working with a higher end because Canon also has a higher end. Like it's a high end camera, but like there's still one above it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that Canon is like the version of like Nikon that I'm shooting on right now, and it's great. It's a bigger camera. Yeah. It's great picture, but I'm really comfortable with Canon. I'm a lot more comfortable. And now that I'm shooting both, it's I get confused because I'm shooting a lot more at White Sands than with my personal shit. Right. So when I'm shooting, I'm used to I know where the buttons are now, like automatically, like your hand does its thing.
You know, it's crazy because you said 4K. You're shooting 1090 right now.
1080,
or 1080. It's weird because I think people assume that you're gonna get a better pic at 4K theoretically, but if you have a good picture that shows all the details, and then when people get all the details like high definition, then you're gonna see the blemishes that you don't want to see also, right? Am I right on things that like?
Yes and no and yes.
Because like
so there's a lot that goes into it. One, how close are you, right? To somebody's face? That's what you're gonna see. Yeah. 4K is gonna show a lot more detail because it's 4,000 pixels, and the lighting has to do a lot with it. If I take off the diffuser on your light, it's just
and I'm not sophisticated. Let me tell you, my high-tech diffuser is made by Brownie paper towels.
There you go. It works as a great diffuser, right? Well, they make when you're into the film and photography business, there's different levels of diffusers.
Really?
Yeah, there's all kinds of names for them, depending on how much diffusion you want and how you want it to look. There's white type of diffusers, and then there's screens, like they look like literal screens,
like kind of filter-ish kind of stuff,
like the black screens, like for your windows. They're darker and then they're darker, and they work with like how much light you're cutting off, because everything in photography and film, it works with like light. We measure light in like stops of light. It's like when you're adjusting your aperture, you talk about how many stops you're going up or down. In general, it can be your aperture, your shutter, or your ISO. It's like everything's measured in what they call stops of light. So there's screens to diffuse your light and stuff, or to stop down on your light, to remove some light. The diffuse is more like make it more like soft. Right. And then when you're removing, like you're cutting light, you're adding the screens. So you're stepping down on light. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I've always liked to think of it like exposure. It's the art of light, like vision. Like that's what you're able to do, is capture vision. Like
you're capturing, you're painting with light.
You're painting with light.
That's what photography and video is all about.
That sounds like really elegant when you say it that way. Painting with light.
Literally, because that's what's happening in your sensor. Before sensors, we had film, and in film, it's pretty much, like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it right, but the film, like,
well, okay. If I
take a picture, but
if I think about it, like old cameras were like either some sort of glass or pieces of metal coated with some sort of chemical that collected the light.
Correct. Yes. So like it shapes. Like the amount of light that's bouncing off things, like white reflects more light, right? So that's gonna be like brighter than this bottle, and there's different colors and everything. So colors reflect differently, right? And your sensor, your film it's catching that light, right? And it's recording it onto the film or sensor. So when you're like literally you're taking a picture, a film picture, you're pretty much painting with light because whatever you're taking a picture of, it's whatever light is reflecting on the surface of whatever you're taking a picture of.
Right.
So when you're in digital cameras, like digital film or digital photography, let's go back. A cinematographer is the director of photography in film, which means the director of the picture. Whatever you see, like the lighting, like you see your screen, your TV, whatever it's called, your monitor. You see the light hitting my arm, right? You see, or everything that's the light is hitting. That. Oh my God! How can I say it? It's.
So if the director like wants to show your arm in a certain way or a certain light or to have like a certain pop to it, it's his job to really figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah, it's like drawing it. It's like, well, how moody do you want it?
Yeah.
Like, what is the scene about?
And
do you want it to look happy? Happy, it's nice and bright, not like, like moody and dark, and the shadows are like low. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like most cinematographers are gonna be like working with light in the room, most definitely. But then that's when you're also using the camera.
Almost like very
the aperture is like your iris. You're opening the aperture, right?
Like Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Where his films were in black and white, but he used the contrast of the black and white and the shadows to set the mood.
Right.
Like film noir, it's very contrasty, shadowy.
Those are along the same line. Like that old 50s style, along with noir.
Yep. So, again, going back to a cinematographer's work is to light the scene and frame it. The picture, because of what is the video? What is the movie? It's motion picture, literally, right? Like back then it's like you're taking 24 pictures per second. That's 24 frames a second. So
it's almost like 24 snapshots in 1 second.
Correct. So you're painting, like that's your pic. So a cinematographer, a director of photography on a movie, is literally painting the picture of what the director wants to see. Right? It's like, well, this has to be like a moody scene of like people arguing. And the director of photography is going to be like, well, I'm going to frame the person like this. And I'm going to put the light over here or right here to give the shadows of right here. So you're painting with light. Right. And you're painting your frame, which is your viewfinder, your camera.
Yeah.
You're painting with light. Because the camera, just like our eyes, all we see is light. Without light, we don't see anything.
Right.
Camera, without light, you don't see anything. Take a picture with no light. You don't see anything.
That's the frame.
They're
in control of the frame.
Then
you have color with art department, costume, the actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What if you're in a vehicle? What kind of vehicle? Is it a cherry red car? Is it
And
all of that?
Do you want that cherry red car to really like pop?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So that again, going back to photography or video. That's why I like to say it like this: you're painting with light, that's exactly what video and photo is. It's light. So if I put the light on your side, it's gonna light this side, and this side's gonna be in shadow. It's an art. It's art, right? And you're It's like if I'm painting you, it's like, well, if the sun was over there, I'm painting you. But like when you're taking a picture, you're painting your frame with light. Your film, your little film thing, you're painting your sensor, you're filling it with light, so you're painting with light. Obviously you're not using paint, but it's a good way to tell people how it works,
right?
And just how we explain the different compartments or whatever you call it in the camera. A camera, you got your body, right?
Yeah.
And then you got your lens. The lens is the eye. Inside the lens, we have the aperture, which opens and closes like your eye, like your pupil.
And it lets in more or less light.
Correct. If it's all the way open, you're receiving more light. And if it's all the way closed, please. If it's all the way closed, you're getting less light. So also, when your pupil's all the way open, your focus gets kind of messed up.
It's kind of like when you're wearing shades, and then you walk outside on a sunny day and you take the shades off real fast. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, but also it messes with your actual focus, kind of like on a camera. When your aperture is all the way open, it's receiving more light, but your focus gets more shallow on the picture. And it's like, if you ask anybody that's probably had their eyes dilated, which a lot of us have when you go to the eye doctor, or people that are probably on certain drugs that dilate their pupils, their vision gets blurry up close. Like when you get your eyes dilated and you look at your phone, you're like, I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Because your pupils are all the way open. Your pupil also affects your focus. Same thing with the camera. It affects your focus. If your pupil's all the way open, your depth of field is very shallow, meaning if I'm focused on my cup, the background's going to be blurry. If my pupil's closed, everything can look more in focus.
That's so super interesting.
So cameras, again, it's like...
It's an eye,
man.
It's an eye.
That's so super... Because you're... Like you talk to somebody like me that's not knowledgeable about it. We're like, when I show up to the store, it's like, just show me what camera to buy. Or now, like with cell phones, like which camera is going to give me the best shot? And that's all you ask. Like, what's going to give me the best one? What's going to do this? What's going to do that? But like to have like the knowledge to say like, I need this for this reason. It's I've always wondered if technology has taken away from the art. But it sounds like maybe the art has just evolved over time.
And it's funny because just like humans have evolved, and some people are like, we're evolving to shit. Humans are getting lazy. And yes, I can say
we're evolving.
We can very much be lazy. So we can be going downhill in a lot of ways, but we can go uphill in a lot of ways. It depends how you want to see it. Same thing with technology.
It's like a guy that digs ditches.
It, man.
Back in the old day, you dug ditches with shovels.
Right.
But now you have a guy that can drive an excavator.
Uh-huh.
Is he any less lazy than the man that does it with a shovel?
No.
And then when you see him doing it with an excavator and you see the things he does, have you seen the guys with excavators?
Yeah.
They're like on point with it. They operate it like if it's a part of them. Uh-huh. And they could do more in a less amount of time.
Way less amount of time.
Right. So, but like I say, they're not any less lazy, and they're not working any less harder just because they don't have a shovel in their hands.
So if we use the technology the right way, we can advance.
Right.
If we use it the wrong way,
then
we downgrade.
You have a crappy shot.
Yeah. So going back with tech.
That's like a really cool that's like a really cool metaphor that you painted there. Like that's kind of like mind blowing. Like I'll think about that. I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like our phones. Like this has become part of us. That's part of our human evolution because we have the answers to. We can say the world, not really, but pretty much almost.
We're advancing
in our pocket.
Yeah.
This is we're not cyborgs because it's not connected to us, but we're pretty much cyborgs because it's connected to us enough, not physically, but what is it called? Mentally, maybe.
We're like symbiotic almost.
It's part of us. Like this is my phone number. Like the government or anything people can hack me. GPS. They know most of my life with this. This right here records everything, dude. Like everything. They say, it doesn't. Yes, it fucking does.
No,
it does. It does. They can
listen
to us. I've talked with my phone out pretty close to me about products.
Yeah.
And then I open social media or Google and like I get a fucking
The
ad for
ads.
exactly
Yeah.
what the fuck I was talking about. It's like, that is too fucking obvious.
Yeah.
So we are connected to this shit. And what's next? We got now the fucking new shades that you can do fucking live translation into your fucking ear.
That's
and
nuts.
you can have fucking shit on your fucking
Well,
lenses now.
What is Elon talking about? Where like you have
the
that
brain fucking
Neuralink.
Neuralink,
dude. And
How
then now they're
nuts
talking
is
about
that?
pretty soon we're gonna have eye contacts that is pretty much gonna be what those fucking smart glasses do now
That's
in your fucking
nuts.
eyeball. People are
That's
gonna be
nuts.
able to do all kinds of shit. Access the internet with Neuralink. That's in your brain already. That is 100% cyborg shit. We're
We're like right there. We're like gonna be
we're
the
not even
Borg.
right there.
The
We
Borg.
are there. We're just
Blade Runner.
like humans.
and
We are there. The technology is there. It's just not accessible because we're still in the testing.
and it's still a cost thing, right? So like everybody says I wouldn't do it, but if you had like a little bit extra money, you'd be like, it's kind of cool. Let me get it.
Yeah. Well, check it out. A lot of people, I'm not gonna do it. We're gonna fucking be looking at everything that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
They already are with this.
Right.
You don't even need this shit. There's satellites that can see through your shit.
Yeah.
What you're supposedly, I don't know how true it is. Supposedly, fucking 5G with 5G technologies. There's certain radars or I don't know technologies that can see through your house because
crazy
it's releasing
stuff.
fucking
But that
frequencies.
was they were talking about that like 5 years ago. So there was guys that were talking about in their attic. They would put chain link fence, just unroll it in the attic because it creates like a what do you call that cage? Is it not a Gaussian?
Faraday?
Faraday cage. It creates like a Faraday cage by laying like chain link in your attic so that they couldn't see in. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like it if it were 1 or 2 stories you hear about, that's one thing, but there's more than 1 or 2 people screaming about this. You know what I mean? Like, it's maddening, it's nuts, but I think it exists. And I know, my dad was older than the sticks. When he was, I think he was 85 when he died, like 4 years ago. He was pretty old. And he's talking about like in the 80s, he's like, oh yeah, they have satellites and the satellites will read the license plates off your car. This is in the 80s. And I believe it. I sincerely believe it.
I do
you know
too,
what I mean?
man.
Yeah.
You know why? You know Bob Lazar?
Oh yeah. Like, I think at this point in the game, if you didn't know who Bob Lazar was, then
Now
you're.
you know.
Well, okay, look at China is building a nuclear plant. I want to think they just started. They turned it on. It's on.
Where?
In China.
In China they built it?
This nuclear plant, that creates electricity for China, right?
Sure.
It's a nuclear electrical
It's a
plant.
reactor, yeah.
Reactor. Thank you. But it runs off thorium.
What's thorium?
It's
on the scale, right?
It's on a scale, but it's an element that Bob Lazar talked about that never existed until like 20 years later. They said, "Oh yeah, thorium does exist, and it's on
Is
the
that
periodic table."
element 115
I think it is.
Holy
or not? Man.
I believe it is.
crap.
I want to say it is. And he had talked about this for a long time, and here it is in China being used to create electricity.
So they've no doubt. I mean, there's sightings all over the planet.
Yeah.
Egypt,
And you know what, people?
Mexico.
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
No, it sounds accurate. I'll believe anything,
Yeah.
bro.
I've had some experiences that I'm like,
We should all give our
if it's
best
not
story.
aliens, it's our government, for sure.
I say both.
It's kind of, I don't know what it is. I've heard
After
the stories.
Roswell?
I've heard all the stories about like the Graylian agreement, where like Eisenhower did a deal with the Greys so they could take people and people could be adopted and this and this. The little squiddies going around through space that the new radar technology can. I mean, I don't know. Like,
Dude, it's just like a giant web.
it's a giant web.
Yeah.
Oh, the only thing I can say that I can stand behind is like what I've seen. I'll give you an example. Like,
Yes.
I was driving between Albuquerque and Los Cruz. This is a story I tell because it's not very exciting. It's not. I don't go into the exciting ones because it's unbelievable. But the one story I did do, I was driving. It was like 2 a.m. I'm driving from Albuquerque to Los Cruces, and I'm trying to think. I want to. I don't know. I don't recall if I was north or south of Socorro, New Mexico, on I-25.
Oh yeah, 25.
I-25, and I see like a light turn on. Boof. I don't know why. I don't know why I make that sound.
Like a beam or like a circle?
like a light. Like
It's
boof.
too
Does it look like a moon or is it shooting light?
No. So I see one light turn on. Boof.
Boom. How big is it?
It's big. And then I see another light turn on.
Like a car?
Boof. And then I turn another light. Boof. And so you know where I-25 is, and then you know how far away the mountains are. That's not like right there. That's like 30, 40 miles away.
Which mountains, west or east?
East. The like toward like the not the Magdalenas, the other ones, like going towards like White Sands or like towards
but Socorro.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So over the mountains, I see like
that's part
one
of
light.
White Sands.
So I see one light, boof, and I see another light, boof, and I don't know why I make that sound, but it's like, boof, boof, and I just see a series of lights that make a half arc in the sky. Like big lights. It's not like it's not like somebody gets a spotlight or my little light here. It's like to be that far away, to be that prominent,
and to see that,
and to see it in a very obvious half arc over those mountains facing east. And I'm driving and like 2 a.m, I-25, it's empty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like, is anybody seeing this? And so I'm watching it, and I'm just driving, and I'm just like looking at this painfully obvious. And then just the way it came on, one light at a time, it just, boof, one light goes off. Boof, one light. And it's just one at a time, and then it's gone, and I'm just driving like.
Were they orange?
No, they were not orange. They were more like a bright white yellow.
Oh.
All right, so you've heard of the Phoenix Lights, where it was the giant V for like a week or 10 days. Where my mind goes, ever since I was a kid and I hear about the lights, is it multiple lights or is it one big fucking thing?
I will give you one story. I will.
Yeah.
Like I won't give you like any more detailed stories than probably like this one, but I was running. I was always a runner. I know I'm a kind of a chunky little guy right now. I mean, dude. After COVID, I just had hip surgery.
Looks good. You're good, man.
But like back, I was always a runner, and I was always running in the desert. And I'd always get like there was a time where I would start running like at 7 or 8 in the evening, and I'd go run as far as I could, like to like the Doña Mountains or whatever, and then I'd come back, and I'd be running back home like at 10:30, 11 at night, because it's kind of a nice time to run. It's it's nice.
It's fresh.
And I remember I was running. Just east of us, not far. This is like 15, 20 years ago.
Oh shit.
So it was like a long time ago. Like all this wasn't really developed the way it was. And I remember like I stopped and I'm looking at the sky and I see like like how like when a car or a boat is in the water, it leaves like a trail in the water from the waves, the wake.
The wake.
I look up in the sky, and I see 3 lights in an outline of a triangle, and it's leaving a wake in the sky, and it's not like a straight line. It kind of like goes like this, like in a wavy, and I'm like, what? I'm like,
serpentine.
I'm like, what the hell? Like I'm not when I was at that age, I was still like really wet behind the ears. I was a real good kid. I was like still like.
How old were you at the time?
I was like early 20s.
Okay. It was like college years.
It was like, no, that's like before I went into college hard.
Before.
I was just like kind of working. I'd go running and you know what I mean? I was like a real, but I remember like just watching this thing kind of like come my way and it stopped right in front of, right above me. And it had like the 3 lights where the, like, where the point of the triangles are, and it had one in the middle. And I remember just sitting there looking up. And the thing just stopped, and it turned like this, and it heads south. And it leaves like a wake, but the wake is not like a wake like water and clouds. Huh. It's like a wake of light. It leaves like just a little bit of trailing of light.
Huh.
And I remember just like,
bro.
I remember thinking like, is anybody else seeing this?
Yeah.
Like I'm running. I'm not hallucinating. I'm not like. it was like one. That probably has to be like one of the first instances for me that's like, what the hell? This is before I even like believed that there, like I didn't know what it was.
Then you started.
It didn't start till I actually didn't start.
Did you
thinking,
doubt it? Were you like,
I didn't
in my
doubt,
head?
No, I didn't doubt. I knew what I saw. But,
Right.
But at the time, I like if you would have asked like 29-year-old Mark, I'd be like, dude, it was the government. It was like Obama, and it was like the reptiles. Like 29-year-old Mark would have given you like everything, and the Queen of England. But no, like
Princess Diana.
Middle 20s to early 20s Mark. When I saw that, I was like,
Fuck you guys.
that I didn't know what I was looking at. Like, it was just the most bizarre thing I saw. But those are the kind of things I've seen in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, before I go into my story, can we take a pee break?
Yeah, game off. Yeah, game off.
Game off.
Game off. Yeah, there's one right here. I don't know, but let me show you where the other one's at. Yeah, that was a crazy one.
We're gonna take a smoke break for you too while we're at it.
Yeah, no doubt, dude.
Get
No
some
doubt.
spinach going. Burraca.
I'm sure Joanna's there. She's gonna be all pissed at me.
I'm gonna get another mic for her.
Wait, who?
La
The
esposa.
lady.
Oh. Yeah, my girlfriend's like,
Where you at?
it's like, it's been a while. It's like, what do you, oh my God, bro. I've done nothing
Oh,
but
because
work
it's Friday.
for a whole
She thinks you're
month.
fucking right now.
There's a quote I always talk about with my friends when I talk, and I always say this quote, but most men live a life of
It's
quiet
recording,
desperation.
though, right?
Yeah, I leave it recording
Okay.
because then
You
it makes
cut
it easier to cut it out
Okay.
later.
But
than-
you do cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's not the whole time.
But there's this quote my friend says. Well, I always tell my friends, I go that it's and it's a famous quote, but it says most men live a life of quiet desperation.
wait, how?
Most men, or I don't know if it's most or many
Most.
most men live a life of quiet desperation.
Which means...
So I think it's kind of the way I think I'm feeling now, like when you're married or you're tied down and you have these hopes and aspirations in your heart, what life can be, but you're married. you have a
Oh.
La
family,
mayoría de
you
los
have-
hombres viven una vida de desesperación.
And so
Working
you have
or-
your obligations, like I gotta go to work in the morning, I
Gotta
got
go
my
to
late.
war.
I'm still talking to my bike.
Yeah.
But you're like, and I'm gonna definitely cut it out, but you're waiting, your lady's waiting on you, like, oh, I gotta
Mark,
go. I was like,
forget to
guys, you know, I was
delete
like,
this shit.
guys, it's 10 o'clock
Hi,
at night,
Mark.
let's go hit a strip club, but you can't because you have your lady on.
Yeah. Even, not even the strip club, just in general, just like,
Just go be guys.
it's just, yeah, we're just like, we're
Yeah,
talking
bro.
about aliens.
Yeah.
And,
Like, how cool is it to talk about?
yeah, obviously it's a lot cooler for men for some reason, but no, for
Camaraderie,
real, like,
bro.
100%, dude, I agree because I feel the same way. I love my girlfriend, obviously, right?
And
But
you love, like, yeah, I feel the
but
same way.
it's just she texts me because it's been a while.
She misses you.
Been a while since
Oh
I
no,
could
she's just like she's just checking, but
hold
like,
my
it's still kind of
head
like
up high.
It's like,
it's like okay,
I always-
like I dude,
What's your
all
time
I've done
code?
is work for a whole
What's the
month.
timestamp? Well, our code, I mean.
I've been
9:47.
working.
We have 47 minutes?
Oh, I don't know.
I've only had one day off out of the week for the last month,
Two?
and it's just like
Well,
the only day that I'm not home. She's like already texting me for like an hour. Like it's been like an hour maybe since.
she
I
at your
texted
place?
her.
It's
No,
like,
she's at her
you know
mom's.
what? It's like, where are the Teddy Roosevelts?
What do you mean?
Teddy Roosevelt, he had kids, and here he is.
Oh,
like
we need
he's
war
like,
for Teddy Roosevelt.
he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go hunting in Yellowstone, and I'm gonna go Rough Rider it up.
Get
You
a
know what?
muscle up there.
I lost my president election. You know what, honey? Stay home. I'm gonna go hunting in Africa.
He lost that election, huh?
Yeah,
I
like
think I moved this camera.
Is he the one that got shot in the book?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
right there.
But yeah, dude, like
Been a while.
I went sober, no alcohol, nothing, and then gym for like a month and a half. I got
Dude,
fucking
that's legit.
cut,
That is
dude.
like cut.
Did I show
like-
you the picture?
That is like-
November?
That is
When
like
you weren't smoking
stupid
weed?
cut.
Or drinking, or
You weren't drinking?
No, nothing, dude.
Weed, drinking,
Well, it's because I was hitting the
Eating-
gym
and eating
hard,
Like, dude, I've
and
hit.
clean to fucking burn out.
I've
everything.
Let's go.
I eat clean and I've worked out like I'll do 2-a-days. I'll go run. I've never cut like that. I mean, I'll lift like 350 on a bench, and I'll squat like 500 pounds. I've never been that cut, ever.
I don't even do heavyweight, dude. I can't. I mean, I may be taller than, I don't know, the average Mexican maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm very, very, what is it called? I don't know how to say it. I'm very narrow.
Yeah.
Like my build is very small. My head, my hands, my feet, like if you like my wrist. Like if you compare your wrist and my hand with yours, your feet, my head, like your hat.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm very like narrow built.
Like compact.
I'm very compact.
Yeah.
I'm very, very thin.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so for that reason itself, I'm not very strong naturally.
Yeah.
I'm not a very strong person. Like, I have to work out to be strong. And, like, I don't lift heavy. Like, I used to lift heavier when I was younger.
Yeah.
I just go to the gym to work out and, like, I don't know. Like,
it's weird. It's like just like the guy thing to do, right?
To feel good about myself.
Yeah.
More than anything. Not just to feel good, but, like, I mean, this is the way I see it. You know when you play a video game and you can create your own avatar, your own character?
Yeah.
You make them how you want to be, right?
Right, yeah.
And you'll take all this time to create this character, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
On a video game.
Yeah.
Which is on your real...
No, but going back to what we were saying, like, you know, it sucks because I always was that kid that wanted to work out, get strong, and be like, you know, just be like cut and all that. But like, you know, your body type, your style and everything, it's just not me. And so I mean, we were deadlifting 500 pounds, squatting 500 pounds. We were benching 300 plus. Like, we were throwing stupid weight. Even like clean and jerks. Like the highest I got was 265. Like they're heavy movements, and they're like, and still be able to like drop the weight and go for a run for a mile and all that. I never been able to cut up like that. Like when you show me your picture, I'm like, how the hell did you do that, you son of a... Like I've never even gotten close to that. And I always, when I see guys that could cut like that, it's like, dang, good for you, man. Like,
I could say about 80%, 75-80% would be diet food for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I
mean, I'm already a slim person, but I can gain weight too.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I'm wearing baggier clothes than usual, but if I wear like tighter clothes, like you can see obviously more definition. Like in the picture, you can see.
Yeah.
But like if I put baggy clothes on, I look skinny because I'm already small built. I'm a small built person.
Yeah.
So, it's just what you feed your body more than... I mean, it also can do a lot with genetics, right?
Right.
Because, you know, some of us can, you know...
It's just a reality of it.
It is, yeah. But, I mean, after you're doing it for a long time, like eating clean does come into effect. I mean, because you can eat clean throughout a long time and you'll see the effect of a long time. But if you're adding working out with it, or like how clean are you eating, or how much are you eating?
Right.
You can eat clean but eat a lot.
Yeah.
Or you can eat clean and eat what you need. And that makes a difference too. And we're used to, here and nowadays, we're used to like, oh, we need to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if you're up late, you have another fucking meal. And that's not how it was
true,
ever.
Yeah.
Like that was more recent. Like that was made to make people consume more for people to sell more. Corporations. So it's like, oh, breakfast, oh, lunch and dinner. It's like you gotta buy all these.
We all hear the story about the marketing genius about bacon. Bacon wasn't like a thing with breakfast, but then they started marketing it and marketing bacon with like, you know, part of your breakfast, bacon and eggs and pancakes or whatever, or like women smoking. Women was never never a thing, but then they do that big marketing campaign like in the 20s or something like that, and suddenly you have women smoking because it's very fashionable.
Now everybody's
Virginia
smoking.
Slims.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my mom was big on Virginia Slims because it was cool, and then they're skinny and they're all cool. I always tell my friend this story. This like when I remember when I was a kid, I don't remember who else was giving me a ride, whether it was my mom or my dad. But we were driving down like Alameda Street. They were going to the tortilla shop, and I remember these two guys. So this must have been like the late 90s, maybe like 88, 89. And these two guys, I remember one guy's named Mike and the other was named Jorge because I knew who they were. And they had like that very like punk rock 80s kind of like hard metal vibe about them. Jean jacket, the collar popped up, the crazy hair. And I'll never forget the image of him walking with a cigarette in his hand, just walking down the street, putting it up for a quick smoke, and just walking down the street. And I remember because he was only a year or two older than me. I remember thinking like, dude, that guy's cool. Like, it's such a weird memory to have, like just watching this guy walk down the street like not tie dye. What was it? The kind of jeans that back then, they weren't solid blue, they weren't solid like black, but they were like stonewashed jeans and a jean jacket, messy hair with his cigarette in his hand, just thinking like, those guys are freaking cool. Just because they were smoking, walking down the street. Here I'm a little putz getting a ride from my mom. Weird, like the things you remember, huh?
Yeah.
But that's the world we live in. I don't know, like weird.
Yeah, it's so weird, man. I used to, when I was a kid, I used to watch. Well, I mean, I still like this movie. You ever seen Blood In, Blood Out?
Yeah. Oye, Mikolo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that movie was made to scare people off this lifestyle, but it inspired people to want to live this life. And it's funny because I remember I was a fucking kid the first time I watched this shit. I was little. I don't remember how old I was, but I was a kid. I was in elementary.
Yeah.
And I remember getting inspired, but I don't know why. Like, it just seemed like you just want to be, I don't know.
The idea that you're there for your homies like that, you know?
Yeah,
like,
you just want to be like chingon, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like how Mexicans also kind of grow up, like you're brought up to be like tough and men don't cry.
I don't even know these actors like Damien Chapa, Benjamin Bratt, Jesse Borrego. Well, Jesse Borrego, I think.
You don't know Benjamin Bratt?
Yeah, Benjamin Bratt's in a few things.
Is he really? I don't like. Well, of course, Billy Bob Thornton and Danny Trejo, right? But
Billy Bob
Carlos
Thornton?
Carrasco.
Damn, I need to watch that again.
Yeah, dude, that's a good fucking movie, man.
Like the main actors, or then Delroy Lindo.
Who?
Delroy Lindo.
So,
Bonafide. He was the one, the black actor named Bonafide. He was the one in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like legit, but.
Fuck yeah.
He's sick in Transporter.
So, dude, that movie really, really like made me want to smoke cigarettes. And I was a kid, bro. And obviously, I didn't smoke a fucking cigarette when I was that little, but...
Your brother was watching that shit?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it was.
It's funny that you say that, though. It was made to scare you, but how many people did inspire? Because it was like... It was cool as fuck. Like, it was a cool movie.
It was a cool movie.
Yeah.
It is a cool movie.
Yeah, it still is, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great movie. But, I mean, it really shows you a really fucked up side of this fucking life. And people still get inspired to want to be in it. Yeah. And it's so weird because I was part of that, I grew up in a pretty, I could say a pretty nice, chill household in Vado.
Yeah.
With our land, peaceful. But, we were influenced by, already in the 90s, by what we were watching,
I can see growing up in, like, El Paso and watching Blood In, Blood Out, and being like right there with it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Like, you're living that Chicano life. I mean, El Paso's right there. Vado is El Paso and Las Cruces at the same time. Juarez we are a community. If you really think about it, we are a fucking community.
But like, even like the Juarez Mexican culture, it was so different than the Chicana culture. I remember, so when I went to college,
Yeah,
Man, I was like balls deep into like the Chicano culture, like all about that brown power and like la gente and matcha and all that stuff. I was really like buying into it, hook, line, and sinker, and then I kind of made my own journey after that, found my own way, made my own identity. But for a second there, I was like really into that, and then I became who I am, and now I'm just a weirdo. But
we're all a little weird.
Nobody
is ever gonna see another person normal.
Like it's just it's really easy to relate to, and then you watch something like Blood In, Blood Out, and it like clicks. You know the places. Like I knew those places we were talking about. Like we've been to L.A. We knew people like that. You know.
Yeah, it's a great movie. But yeah, I know it really inspired a lot of people to kind of want to live that life, and it did fuck a lot of shit up too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It really did make me want to smoke cigarettes, and I did smoke cigarettes at a young age. I smoked, I don't know, I was early teens. And it's funny because I smoked more before I was 18 than 18. I'm 32 in a month. I smoked more cigarettes between my early teens than 18 and over. I turned 18 and I stopped smoking cigarettes.
It's weird, huh?
I stopped buying cigarettes. I just like that. Like there's no, I don't know. Maybe now because I had to watch my money a little more.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not spending money on cigarettes. And I don't know, but it really, I do really want to say I got the crave from watching that fucking movie. I don't know.
That's
just
nuts.
trying to live that lifestyle. Because, like I said, like I came from a pretty nice, chill home, and all our influences were fucking TV or whatever. Yeah. And that seemed exciting. It seemed different.
It's funny. I know like a lot of Mexicans, like Mexicans, right? I know more now than I did at any point, like even my family from there. And like, we're talking about working and all that. And I'll never forget what this one girl said to me that I was dating. Beautiful Mexican girl. And she had said something like, yeah, you Americans have everything you want. You have everything you need. You have all the cool stuff and all that. But she goes, you guys are, she said, siempre anda en chinga. You're always working. Uh-huh. And then she goes, and she's like, no tenemos nada. She says, we don't have anything in Mexico. But we always have an asada, like a cookout, Mm-hmm. We always have something to eat. We always have something for the neighbor. We always have what we need. Community. Yeah, we don't have the 2025? We don't have that 2025 Ford. Yeah, we don't have the Razor. Yeah, we don't have all this stuff.
But we got everything else.
But we have everything else we need.
Yeah.
And then she goes, she always just impressed that upon me. We don't kill ourselves the way you do. Mm-hmm. And
that's almost every other country.
I know, right? It's every other country. And I think about like we're talking about like that Chicano culture, like it's weird because like I have people talking to me like from Mexico about being Latino or Chicano in America, and it's like it's weird hearing them talk about it because like we're not Mexican. You know that, right? Like we're not Mexican. Yeah, you talk about us like we're one of you, but we're not one of you, and we're not güero, like we're not white, but we're American, but we're brown Americans. We're Chicanos. And this will say a lot of people, this will piss a lot of people off, but I think the Chicano movement at this point in time is dead. I think the Chicano movement from the 70s to the 80s was a significant movement that really did a lot of good. But I think like if you want to call it like the modern day Chicano, if there is a modern day Chicano, I don't think they have a place like they did in the 70s and the 80s when they were fighting for like equality and whatnot. Like, and especially the young kids growing up, I don't think they're Chicano like the way that they were like in the late 70s.
Chicanos were like first generation born, I think.
But
know?
even the first generation born.
I mean, I
now,
am first generation born.
But think about
my
like,
family.
You see kids now that are first generation born now, versus what we saw from our deals and all that, our neighbors, all that from from the 80s. It's so different. So I don't know how well the Chicano movement has moved into the new millennia.
I think what the biggest difference I see now is that now we don't claim ourselves as Chicanos. We just claim ourselves as Mexicans because I think Mexicans, a lot of people would be like, oh, you're Mexican if you're born in Mexico, like you're American, like if you're born in the United States.
It's almost like a catch-all. You're brown, you're Mexican.
Yeah. And not just that. It's Mexico. To claim yourself Mexican is more your culture. Yeah. Like my family's culture is Mexican. Yeah. Our food, my mom cooks, everything, our traditions, they're Mexican.
Yeah.
We call ourselves Mexican not because we're Mexican citizens or Mexico
but
citizens.
That's like your raíces, your roots.
Yeah. It's what we are. And yes, we're American citizens because we are born in the United States.
And I always tell people, like,
Mexican
very
culture.
proud to be American too. Like, to say that you're Mexican doesn't like to take away from the fact that we're proud of being American.
No, we're born here. We're American citizens. It's great to be an American citizen because we have... we're lucky to be born here because we can be here.
Yeah.
You know, without having to fucking apply to be here or whatever the fuck. And, even though I disagree with a lot of the shit that the United States does.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to live here because I think we have it better than a lot of other countries in a lot of other ways. Like the comfort to live in the United States, I think can be a lot more comfortable than other countries. But right now, there's a lot of shit going on where you can disagree a lot with your government.
Yeah.
But I can say I'm still proud to be...
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Here. Or not necessarily proud. I feel lucky to be here.
It's like it's like the American dream still exists.
It does. But, if you really think about it, if you live in Mexico and you're wealthy, you can live a really good life too.
But that's funny because if you're wealthy in Mexico, you can live a good life. But I have a good friend and colleague I talk to a lot. Sometimes we talk about this, and he says the class system still exists in Mexico. In the United States, if you don't do better than your parents, there's a chance that you're not going to do better than your parents. Like if your dad's a nuclear physicist and you just don't want to do that because you want to be a teacher, that's your choice you make, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But he was really making this point with me. He goes, but the reality of it is in Mexico, chances are you are not going to do much better than your parents. If you're born in that class, that's it.
Yeah.
And he goes, the people that are wealthy and their kids will have that generational wealth. But if you're not a part of that generational wealth or marry into it or something, you're not going to be a part of that class. That class system still very exists. But most people are happy. They go to work, they get the car, they get the casita and have kids, and they're very happy. And good for them. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But that chance to get to that next level, like in somewhere like Mexico, it doesn't exist because very few people break through that ceiling to change from one class to another if the money's not already there. It's kind of like an interesting statement that he made in that sense. And this colleague of mine, he's really interesting because he's always telling me, he's like, when I was in banking and I was opening new accounts, he goes, and he was in El Paso, he goes, I'd get people from Chihuahua all the time. Like, I want to open a banking account. Okay, what do you want to deposit? $100, $200, what do you want? Suitcase, $10,000. $100,000, and they were bringing their wealth from Mexico to deposit into American banks because they know it's guaranteed up to a certain amount. Whereas in Mexico, if something happens, they can lose it all.
It's a lot more.
But up here, they felt like it was safer up here depositing into an American bank, even though they're not American citizens. They knew it was safer, and he said it was really interesting seeing that so close to the border.
Yeah.
People walking with suitcases. I need to deposit $100,000. Okay, you have a cashier's check or what? Nope.
Here it is.
Here it is.
Cash.
Yeah, like how nuts is that? That's kind of a weird thing. It's a weird thing to think about this day and age. Like the fact that you're born to a class and you're never going to get out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's my, that's been in, how can I say it? That's been in my mind a lot. I'm good. Like, obviously, we don't come from money. I don't come from money. Like, we don't. It's like we work for our money.
You know what's curious? What's curious is seeing people that are wealthy because they work a lot, and seeing people that are wealthy because they either have some sort of generational wealth or they came into the money, but they're not wealthy. They're like filthy wealthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like a distinct difference. Like you have people that they're really well off because they worked hard. They have a right. They're nuclear physicists and they're brain surgeon. They're married together and they make a lot of money. And they're like, oh man, they have a nice car and they have Audis and they have.
Yeah.
But
nice
then,
house and everything.
then you meet somebody that their family is like the president of a bank, and their family has generational wealth, and they're like next level wealth. It's like two different worlds seeing that and seeing them coexist like nothing. That's weird. Like I don't even know what that kind of money. I don't even know what that kind of money is. Like that's just so mind-boggling. You know what I mean? Like, like I remember not dating. I was dating a girl, and her best friend was married. Well, no, she was dating a guy that came into that was dating like the son of a family that opened a bank. They like you know what? My dad opened a tortilla shop. You know what? My mom opened the food part of the business where she takes takeout food and she makes burritos. No. They opened a bank. Do you know what I mean? Like the different level there, and she's just talking about like how different their lifestyle is just because they were like in a whole different universe. Which
you can do whatever you want.
Which
much, man.
Which like 99% of the population will never know that kind of wealth. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
That's just so mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that conversation, like not being able to wrap my head around it at the time, and be like, okay, so yeah, she married it. She's got a boyfriend that could like dish it out for her. Now that I think about it, I was like, wait a second, they had money. They had stupid real money. Yeah, I don't know. The world's a crazy place.
It is.
I just kind of want to make enough money here to go to like a third world country somewhere and just retire.
Absolutely.
That's like the goal for me. Like
man.
That's the American dream now, man.
Like no cell phone, no power, no running water. I'm good. You know, if just as long as Maria can come clean the house and make me some food, I'm good. Like I don't know where that's gonna be, but that's the dream for me. Like, you know, like it's nuts.
Yeah. I just feel like I can't leave this place. I'm first generation. I'm actually the only one in my family born in New Mexico.
Yeah.
I just feel like I can't. I don't
New Mexico,
man.
New Mexico does that to you, right?
I can't leave. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. A lot of people try to leave it, and I always see them come back.
Okay, I know. Like oddly enough, I know people from Deming, New Mexico. Deming, New Mexico is like 10 to 15,000 population in the county. Great water. Great. They always tell you we have great water. You know, Deming water. And I see people go to school, get their master's degrees, and they go to California, to Arizona, and Texas, and they have these great jobs. And then in like 15 years, I remember like a period in my life where I'm like, where I meet people, I'm like, wait, you came back to Deming? Like, why did you leave like San Antonio? Like, oh, we just wanted to come back to Deming. It's like, But there's something about the Land of Enchantment that you kind of come back.
Because you're left alone. If you want to.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's what it is. They leave you alone, right? I don't know.
Yeah, dude. Like, though, this is one thing. I mean, I have a lot of friends, and I love all of my friends.
Yeah.
But Jesus fuck, sometimes you just want to be alone, man. Like, you know, you just want to be alone. And you know, I'm not a person that likes to be alone a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I like to be around somebody, and I like to entertain myself around people. But what I mean by being alone is like being away from so many fucking people. I feel like you can feel people's energy.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm in a, you know, again, I grew up here, so I'm used to this isolated, I don't know, area. I mean, yeah, Las Cruces is populated by like a Vado, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like when I go to big cities, I feel like I need, like, after a few days, I'm like, I need to get away. Like, I get, like, fuck. Like, I feel you energetically. Like, I feel your, I don't know. I feel like the cities are full of a lot of negative fucking energy. I went to New Orleans a few years ago, and I stayed at, I don't know, I forgot the
First of all,
street.
New Orleans, cool place, right?
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's cool. It is,
old buildings, diverse, different people.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I stayed in what is it called, that main street everybody goes? Yeah, I stayed down the street from Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
In a really old, I don't know what it was like.
I think that place like where the old buildings are, like Jefferson Square or something like that.
Yeah, I forgot. It's a really old. It's not a hotel. It's like they're like suites. Like there's like kind of little
like a hostel.
Like,
well,
no.
So
like there's like a kitchen and shit.
Like, I got like an Airbnb.
Yeah.
But it's instead of building.
It's like a building.
Yeah.
And it's like
rooms.
It's like a red brick building, and the bricks look like they've been there forever. Like, because it has like you know, like bricks, they get like aged and they get mold on, they get plants on them, and even like the motor, like on the look about it, they get worn away.
Yeah.
And you could tell that building's been there forever. So it's an Airbnb, but in that it's like a building. But in that building, there was like maybe 10 Airbnbs. You never saw anybody.
Yeah.
But even the wood floors, they have that creakiness when you
you're
walked
walking
in there.
in the halls and shit. So, you know, it kind of looks like you're walking to a hotel room, but it's like an apartment. You know what I mean? Because it's a building. Anyways, like it's like multiple stories. Because it's a city.
Yeah.
Big city.
Big city.
Anyways, I was there for a few days. Not even that long, but I mean, I don't know. Like, dude, like, there's no fucking parking. It's a bitch to get a parking.
Yeah.
And if you park somewhere, it's like $20-some or some shit a day. Or something, or more. I don't know. It was like, what the fuck, man? And the streets is like, oh, this is fucking, like, you know, you're in New Orleans, man. Like, fucking badass history. Bro, the streets smell like fucking piss and cigarettes.
Yeah, they do.
And literally, there's people that are fucked up, dude. Like, everywhere in the fucking street.
Early in the morning.
Any fucking time,
yeah.
Dude. And, like, it's another one of those cities that never sleeps, dude. Doesn't matter what the fuck time you're out in the street, and there's always fucking people, and it always smells like piss. You're in the heart of the city. It smells like sewer. It smells like, I don't know, man. Like, a few days, 2-3 days in there, high anxiety, bro. I feel everybody's fucking energy.
Yeah.
I need to get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, I don't know. I was like, what the fuck? After that, after New Orleans, we went to what they call it's like La Rose.
Yeah.
Louisiana. It's by the bayou, and the bayou is right in front where we went next. I felt like I was home. Yeah. It's just houses, and they all got their acres. It's just open land. The bayou is like a river. I mean, you know what a bayou is, right? Yeah, but it looked like a river. People on boats and shit, whatnot. Dude,
it's like the way of life.
It's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I'll stay here. You go to the city. Man.
It's weird because like I was there the week before Mardi Gras, but Mardi Gras already starts, so you have tons of people. But it's like you have the locals, but you have everybody else that comes. So it's like it's almost like it's not the real New Orleans. You have to find the real New Orleans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I do, like, no, I know some people are all about the city life and, like, all of that. Like, that's cool, man. Like, that's, it's, like, a lot of people don't like living in Vado or Las Cruces. A lot of people fucking hate living in Las Cruces. I'm not a city person. New Orleans has a beautiful history. From what I've seen
Crazy,
and
right?
heard
Like,
and read.
Awesome,
Amazing. It's an amazing city. It's beautiful. But it's just not somewhere where I can... To visit, yes. To live.
I saw the Nicolas Cage pyramid.
What?
I saw the Nicolas Cage pyramid.
National Treasure?
No. You know where Nicolas Cage said he had like a run of bad luck and he couldn't figure out why his movies were bombing and he couldn't get good work and all that? And so he went to New Orleans. It had to do with something either he did or said in New Orleans. And so he went back and he talked to like some sort of like spiritual person. They say you have to build like a pyramid-like thing here at the cemetery or something for him to like to break that bad luck spell. And then mysteriously he has a good movie that goes on beyond that. Did you ever hear about that? No. Artie!
That's new to me.
Artie! I saw the thing that he built.
Huh? What it looked like? A pyramid?
A pyramid.
It was just like an Egyptian pyramid?
Yes. Okay. You know what? I do not mean to interject, but I feel like this is a moment where I need to educate Artie on Nicolas Cage because if you're not up to speed on Nicolas Cage, it's like not being it's not like being connected to Kevin Bacon in 7 Steps.
It's like not knowing that Jeff Goldblum was a fly.
Ara, can you please explain to Artie here the whole thing about Nicolas Cage building that little pyramid thing in New Orleans and what the curse was?
I hope she doesn't know shit.
All right, let's dive into this wild tale about Nicolas Cage and his pyramid tomb in New Orleans. So, back in 2010, Cage bought a couple of plots in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1, a historic spot where big names like Voodoo Queen Marie Laveau are buried. He built this 9-foot-tall, stark white pyramid mausoleum for himself. Yep, for when he eventually checks out. It's got this Latin phrase, omnia ab uno, meaning everything from one, etched on it. Kind of mysterious, right? Now, here's where the curse stuff comes in. Cage owned the infamous La Laurie Mansion in New Orleans for a bit, a place tied to some seriously dark history and ghost stories. Local lore says he started believing he was cursed after owning it. Think career flops, financial troubles, maybe even bad vibes from the mansion's past. The story goes that he built his tomb near Marie Laveau's grave, hoping her spiritual mojo would protect him or lift the so-called curse. Some folks even say he was into voodoo, which might have influenced his choice of cemetery. But not everyone's thrilled about it. Locals weren't happy, saying he took up sacred space or even displaced older burials to make room for his pyramid. It's a bit of a sore spot. Some call it disrespectful, while others just find it peak Cage eccentricity. So, Arnie, that's the deal. A mix of superstition, Hollywood flair, and a city that's not sure whether to roll its eyes or embrace the weirdness.
It's Artie, not Arnie.
You caught that. She thinks you're Arnie.
I'm going to correct her the way she corrects us.
Ara's vibing Arnie.
It's Ara, not Ara.
So, Nicolas Cage thought he was cursed for buying that. So when I was there, I saw his little pyramid tomb thing that he bought because I went to
I went to that. I drove by that.
You saw it?
Yeah. No, I didn't see it.
Well, the cemetery.
Maybe I don't know. I don't remember that.
Cemetery No. 1 has they have a wall around it. And you have to buy a tour to it, and you see Mary, what's her name, grave there and all that. I was trying to take pictures to see if I could see like any ghosts or anything like that, but I didn't. But I did see the Nicolas Cage tomb. It was kind of legit.
That's pretty cool.
I gotta see this thing.
Dude, you have to, it's not anything like crazy. It's just like a random like pyramid-shaped tomb. But that's New Orleans, though.
Yeah.
And New Orleans is like a legit melting pot of people.
Yeah, dude.
It's cool. It's freaking cool. And
it has history.
History. So that's before I had my hip surgery. And I'm walking down the streets there not far down Bourbon Street, and I was staying at the Hilton. I think it was the Hilton, and it was like, but it was like up Canal Street. Yeah, that's it. And I'm walking around.
It's big, dude.
It's big. It's big, but it's not like monstrously big. So anyway, so I'm walking around and my hips are already shot at that point. It's like bone on bone and all that. And then it's like, it's right down the water. So like I'm feeling the barometric pressure on my hip and it hurts more than usual. And dude, I was buying everything on the street I could find to help me with the pain. If you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So, I finally flagged down one of those guys on those bike taxis.
Yeah.
And it was this particular night. He's riding his bike, taking us back like many blocks back to the hotel. And he goes, "Where are you guys from?" And I said, "We're from New Mexico." He's like, "Oh yeah, we're in New Mexico, like Las Cruces." He goes, "I love Las Cruces." I was like, "That's pretty random. Where are you from?" He goes, "I'm from Santa Fe, man." He said, "I moved to New Orleans and I started bike riding for taxis and I love doing this, and now this is what I do." Small world, right? Like, how crazy is that? Like Santa Fe, they're bike riding in New Orleans.
That's crazy. And then you get people retiring in Santa Fe from New Orleans.
Oh my God. New Orleans is a cool spot. If anybody has the opportunity to do so, they should.
It's pretty cool. But you can't take away from the Land of Enchantment. At least that's me. I love it here. I don't think I will ever leave.
The most underrated state.
Yeah, man. There's so many natural wonders in this state. Beautiful. People don't even know. I didn't even finish watching it. There was this video. It's like 40 minutes long, and all it shows is like really like mind-blowing places that exist naturally here in the state. I'll send it to you. You can share with him. It's a mind-blowing state.
That's cool.
And I just love it here, man. Again, like, people on Las Cruces are like, "Oh, Las Cruces is going to shit." Go to any city. There's a lot of shit going on in every fucking city has... Yeah. It sounds fucked up, but it has its ghetto spots.
It does.
It's ghetto areas. You know what you're getting into wherever you're at in town. No matter where you're at. No matter what city you're at. You know where you're at. If you don't know where you're at, then... you don't know.
You're right.
But, and it is sad. Las Cruces, just like any other city after COVID, it seems like it's gotten a lot worse with homeless problem and drugs.
That's kind of the way of thing as times go on and places grow and kids do generation and all that. No, everything goes up. I think it's a natural course of things. It's going to happen.
Yeah, but we all do have to admit that there is a problem in every city in the country with homeless and you can drugs.
Do worse. You could do worse than New Mexico.
Definitely.
Let's not talk about Albuquerque, but you could do the worse than the rest of New Mexico.
Yeah, and it's sad. It's sad to see that we've gotten here as humanity. I don't know. Humanity has gotten here. We're putting a lot more money and a lot of bullshit. Yeah. Than the people that are... Yeah. Because a lot of these people out there that are committing crimes or homeless, they're just mentally unstable or they have mental health issues. And we don't have the funding in New Mexico. Well, and in a lot of other places, there's no mental health programs that are good.
Let me throw a stat at you, and this is a stat I've thrown at everybody. I don't know if I mentioned to you. In terms of countries, population-wise, where does the United States stand in terms of being the most populated countries? Have I ever thrown this at you already?
No, I don't think so.
Where does the United States stand in terms of the most populated countries on Earth?
Not
as far as countries?
We're not up there.
We're like 8?
8?
Maybe 12 or some shit.
The United States, hey, have your mind blown? We are the third most populated country in the world. Third. Only behind India and China.
No way.
We have 300 million people. Russia was decimated after World War II. When you're talking about 100 million people dead, and you're talking about China, and China's like they were number one, but they might be number two, being surpassed by India. That's after China eliminated a good 60 million people from the Cultural Revolution. That's their own deal. People starved. United States is third most populated country in the world. So you look at a country like India where people live in squalor, and then you look at the United States, it's like maybe we're not doing that bad. Maybe we're doing the best that we have in context, because there's a lot of people here. 300 million? I don't even know what to compare that against. You know what I mean? I was way out, bro. does that is that not like mind blowing to think like our country is the third most populated country in the world?
Yeah,
it's a lot of people, man.
Yeah, only behind
in like 200 years. That's a lot.
That's only behind.
Well, I mean, the thing is that there was already people here.
Yeah.
Like people keep. This is 2025, and people keep acting like there was nobody here. This place was very populated before the Europeans got here.
And so just added on to it. There's already a history here.
There was, but they do massacre a lot of the natives here.
Yeah. Well, so I like my counter argument to that is because I would have been a history nerd. Like I would have been in the history industry if there was money there. But like really, if I could have made a living being a history teacher, I would have done so. But natives were massacring natives before we got here. Right. They were, and the reality of it is, the rest of the world was savagely killing each other too.
All you know what I mean? The world.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's almost like it's a part of the human condition.
Yeah, but it goes way more back than that, because the natives that we're talking about are, how can you say this? So, we know about the natives that we know here in the United States and in Mexico, and we have the Aztecs and the Mayans, and they're like, oh, the Aztecs and the Mayans are like, wow, there were these great civilizations, but a lot of people don't know that
Hold on. You mentioned the Aztecs and the Mayans, right?
Uh-huh.
Who was Mexico named after?
The Aztecs?
No.
The Mexicas?
The Mexica.
They're the Aztecs.
No, they're not.
They call themselves Mexica.
No, they're not. The Mexica was a distinct, different group of people than the Aztecs, and just like the Chichen Itzas are Mayan, but they call themselves the Chichen Itzans because they were different than the Mayans. There was like a lot of different groups of Mexico, like the Aztecs.
Different native groups, just like up here.
Yeah, just like up here. I always throw that out there when the people say when they talk about Mexico, like what is New Mexico named after? What is New Mexico?
Mexica.
New Spain.
New Spain.
Uh-huh.
New Mexico. People say Mexico's named after New Mexico's named after New Mexico. It's not. New Mexico was given its name by the Viceroy of New Mexico of the Empire of Spain when Mexico was still considered New Spain and there was no Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, New Mexico was a thing before Mexico was a thing.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
I always like to throw that little tidbits of at people because it's like whoa, hold on, like there was no Mexico ever. Where that name Mexico came from? Because if it was like an Aztec thing, we would have called it Aztlan, Tenochtitlan or something. But we didn't. Yeah. Why they chose Mexica after the Mexica people? It's kind of weird. I mean, who knows?
I thought that Mexica were the Aztecs.
No,
I thought they called themselves Mexica.
No, they were a distinct different group of people. They're within like that part of Mexico. Mm-hmm. There's like a half dozen different group of people that were not Aztec, that were either allies with the Aztec or fought the Aztec. Mm-hmm. And I wish I could think of the names right now. I try to do this history thing where you go through like the names of the tribes at the time when the Spanish came in and who was with the Aztec, who fought the Aztec and who fought the Spanish. But like it was like very diverse, more diverse than you think. There was not like one people. And then once the Spaniards came, there's two massive die-offs in Mexico. The initial die-off from the smallpox, and then later there was a disease that they don't know what it was. It was like a flu-like that killed off even more people because they weren't immune. It was like a flu-like thing.
Yeah.
I wish I remember the dates, and I know I'm butchering it, but there was like these number of die-offs due to disease as well and all that. It's just super interesting to like. It's like super interesting to get into. Like it's like nuts.
Yeah.
Like it's nuts.
Yeah, and the history goes way back. Like I was saying, supposedly, to newer findings.
Yeah.
The Aztecs and the Mayans that we know of were actually survivors from a past catalysm, from a civilization from way back in the day.
Yeah.
It's like same thing with like.
So there's a catastrophe. It was like a catastrophist theory.
Yeah, the Younger Dryas.
At the end of the Younger Dryas, so the Younger Dryas is the name of the epoch at the end of the last ice age, and it's named the Younger Dryas because it's named after a flower that only grows during the ice age, and that flower there's geographic record of when the flower existed in Europe, then it went away. Then there's geographic record when it did exist again around 15 to 20,000 years ago, and then it came back. So that's why it got its name, the Younger Dryas epoch. And the Younger Dryas epoch, like I say, so this was initially called catastrophist theory, but it's getting more and more steam that something big did happen about 15 to 20,000 years ago, and North America was ground zero for it. So they talk about the Great Floods, but they talk about the Missoula flood when asteroids hit the ice sheet here in North America, and it flooded it caused a great flood because it vaporized all the ice. But and it's not one asteroid. It was like they're talking like maybe it was like 2 or 3
like
asteroids.
It broke down. Well, it didn't
it like broke up.
Broken down and it broke up.
And it impacted North America in a number of places, but it effectively ended like the ice age now.
Wow.
Yeah, because it melted because it like all these balls of fires.
Yeah.
Hit all the fucking ice.
And because there was a people that lived at that point, their world came to an end. Whatever they knew.
This was a worldwide event.
Right, but it just so happened, just like the asteroid that killed off the dinosaurs worldwide hit in Mexico, like off the Yucatan Peninsula. Well, the asteroids that ended this Younger Dryas period, the theory is these asteroids hit here in North America, but it ended the ice age, but it also caused like the world on fire, and the people now are the survivors of back then.
Wow.
So the Aztecs and the Mayans, their knowledge came from their ancestors.
And what's funny is the Toltecs. Okay, so you have the Olmecs. You have the Olmecs that predated them, but then you have the Toltecs, and you have archaeologists that say the Toltecs are only like a mythological people that they say mean like a better time. But then you have people that say no, the Toltecs was actually a civilization that existed in Middle America at that time, but there's no real evidence of it. But there is the names of Olmecs and Toltecs, but there's not a lot of evidence for both of them. But the words do exist. So were the Olmecs and the Toltecs ancients that existed, Younger Dryas and pre, but their civilization being a Stone Age civilization being wiped out, and now there's nothing left of it. Like me and already talked about this. Like we went through a thing where we talked about. Okay, do you know what a Stegosaurus is?
Dinosaur.
It's a dinosaur on 4 legs, but it had the plates that stand up on the back like this. Yeah. And you know what a T-Rex is, right? So dinosaurs.
Oh, are you gonna tell me that they're the distance between the time they existed were closer to the T-Rex and that was?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Stegosaurus existed 240 million years ago. And if I remember correctly, the T-Rex existed like 90 million years ago. So we're closer to the T-Rex.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a history of 250 million years ago.
Dinosaurs.
That's crazy.
Like
of those beings are the
but who's to say? And okay, so I have three things I would say about ancient history like this, like way ancient history. So A, Model Ts started being made around 1910, right? Roughly. And so a Model T that's left in a farmer's field, you see these old cars in a farmer's field, after 100 years, they're almost gone. That's 100 years. Mm-hmm. And then, so you think about in the context of time of the dinosaurs and now, 240 million years. After 100 years, we have a car that's completely almost gone.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, can you even fathom what 240 million years ago was? It already existed 240 million years ago, either in the form of a caveman or even in the form of a society maybe was advanced. Maybe Cardi was driving around in the Jetsons car.
Yeah.
But 240 million years ago, would there be any evidence of it
Probably
yet?
not.
Probably not. And then there's a second theory. I always tell people about this because it was a word that was made up, but it kind of got some traction. But I don't think it's like conspiracy theory. It's a good theory. It's called the Silurian hypothesis. It's meaning that if any advanced technology or any technology existed from so long ago, if we found ruins of it today, would we recognize it for what it was that long ago? Because you see advanced technology now, you see a cell phone, you see a computer. But what if theirs was something different? Would we recognize it?
Like the pyramids?
Like the pyramids could be, what if
Technology.
what if the pyramids weren't just stone back then? What if it was part of something greater?
Yeah, exactly.
But all that's left is a pyramid, so we just see a stack of rocks.
Yeah.
But
It was
maybe
probably something different.
it was something way different a long time ago that had something more on it, but that, like the Model T, doesn't exist anymore. All you have is just the stack of rocks that are left.
Damn, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's... I think I try to wrap my head around that too much.
No, but I mean, yeah.
So, anyways, oh my God, dude. We've been going on for a minute.
Yeah. It's 11. I gotta work tomorrow morning. So.
Yeah, no. My lady friend's gonna like strangle me alive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Man, thank you for joining us, dude. That was awesome. You know what? Let me tell you. You are our official first guest. Bam.
Oh, thanks, man.
No, you. That's it right here. This is like, he's the one that sets the tone right here. That's it.
That was good.
Yeah.
That's fun.
We'll do it again.
Thank you for joining us, Artie. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, man.
There's a
I'll
lot
have
more
this up in like a day or two.
Guys.
And it'll take me about a day.
Sure.
I'll have it up by Sunday.
Sounds good.
So thank you for joining us, people. Remember, if you had a drink with us tonight, please drink responsibly and drive safely. And always remember, the things that we say tonight is always just us kind of getting together. It's not representative of anybody that we're associated with, any organization or business. This is just a couple of guys getting together on a Friday night and having a good time.
Amen to that.
Amen to that. Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Bye, sir.